Chapter 1428. Divine Realm. Heavenly List. Wang Yiming did not change much, but he knew that his life was now in the hands of Yang Hongwu. Master, I have committed a heinous crime. I actually want to deal with you. Wang Yiming's tone was respectful, as if Yang Hongwu was his parents. No, he was even more respected than his parents. In his heart, Yang Hongwu's will was his will. No matter what Yang Hongwu asked him to do, he would do it. Master, please give me the death penalty. Yang Hongwu could tell that Wang Yiming was not joking at this time. If Yang Hongwu asked him to die, Wang Yiming would really die. This made Yang Hongwu think of a powerful cultivation technique, the purification technique. In the untainted three realms, Junti had purified many people and made them his Buddhist disciples. However, that purification technique was far less terrifying than the spiritual enslavement divine technique. Of course, although the spiritual enslavement divine technique was powerful, Yang Hongwu could not forcibly purify it. His cultivation had not reached that level. However, one thing was certain: the spiritual enslavement divine technique still had room for improvement. As his cultivation grew stronger, the spiritual enslavement divine technique would become more terrifying. If his cultivation reached the Great Emperor Realm, he could purify Great Emperor Realm warriors and turn them into his spiritual enslavement divine technique. However, this was not something that could be done overnight. He did not know how long it would take to reach that level. In other words, he needed a huge opportunity. Of course, if he could refine the entire mortal continent, then there would be no problem at all. Once the mortal continent was refined, he would be able to devour the origin energy of the mortal continent and open his own inner world. In this way, his cultivation could definitely recover to the Great Emperor Realm. As for entering the invincible Great Emperor Realm, that was not certain. You are a disciple of the Mortal Palace in the Divine Realm? Yang Hongwu asked. Yes, Master. How did you know about Yuji? Yang Hongwu was concerned about this matter. Forgive me, Master. I'm not sure about this. It should be the result of the Liu family's special secret method. Wang Yiming said. The God Realm's Liu family has a heaven oracle. His divination methods are extremely powerful. Yuji's matter was most likely divined by him. Heaven's oracle? Is it a method of divination? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. So, now that Liu Lin is dead, the other party should have figured out my existence? He didn't expect that things would turn out like this. He had arranged this formation to seal the news and prevent the news from spreading. However, if the heaven oracle of the Liu family was really so powerful, wouldn't his efforts have been in vain? Everything was still exposed? Don't worry, my lord. Master Heaven Diviner from the Liu clan might be strong, but he has to pay a heavy price to divine someone special. Besides, my lord, you've set up a powerful spell formation, and you're strong enough that you have no fateless power. I doubt that Master Heaven Diviner will be able to divine your existence. Wang Yiming said. However, I'm worried that the Heaven Oracle of the Liu family will divine me. I'm not strong enough to hide myself. If the other party can't divine my situation, then you should be the same. You're now my spiritual slave, so your fate line is also void. Yang Hongwu still had this much confidence. It seemed that the Heaven Oracle of the Liu family wasn't as powerful as he thought. If he was really so powerful, he wouldn't have let Liu Lin come to the lower realm. Therefore, even if that guy was praised to be a god, the calculation method could only be used to calculate a rough estimate. What's the situation in the divine realm now? What's the distribution of forces? Yang Hongwu asked. This was something he was concerned about. He would go to the divine realm sooner or later, so it was good to know more. My lord, the divine realm is divided into 13 regions. Each region is controlled by a monarch god expert. The Common People Divine Realm is one of them. The Common People Divine Realm is controlled by the Common People Divine Palace, and the Tai Divine Realm is controlled by the Tai Divine Palace. The Common People continent we're in now is a small world in the Common People Divine Realm. Wang Yiming said, the strongest force in the Divine Realm is the Ancient Firmament Divine Realm. The Ancient Firmament Divine Lord of the Ancient Firmament Divine Realm is the strongest expert in the Divine Realm. There are many experts in the ancient firmament divine realm, and there are 3 monarch god experts. Therefore, the ancient firmament divine realm is the strongest, and no other divine realm dares to provoke it. Next are the divine knife divine realm and the wand swords divine realm. These 2 divine realms are equal in strength, but they're sworn enemies. What about the common people divine realm and the Tai divine realm? Yang Hongwu asked. What's the position of these 2 forces? At the bottom, Wang Yiming said, the common people divine realm and the Tai divine realm belong to the bottom 3 regions, also known as the lower 3 regions. They're the weakest. The ancient firmament divine realm, the divine knife divine realm, and the wand sword divine realm belong to the upper 3 regions. Do you know if there's a pure, sacred body in the divine realm? Yang Hongwu asked. A woman with a pure, sacred body was most likely his woman. Of course, it wasn't 100%, but there were very few women with a pure, sacred body. Of course there are, but they're very rare. I only know of 2 people. One is the holy maiden of the spirit dream divine realm, and the other is the holy maiden of the ancient firmament divine realm. I don't know about the others. Wang Yiming said. What are their names? Yang Hongwu was happy to hear this, and asked. Wang Yiming shook his head. I don't know. These 2 people have never appeared before. We only know about them from the Holy Maiden list of the Divine Realm's heaven ranking. Wang Yiming said. Heaven ranking of the Divine Realm? Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, What's the heaven ranking of the Divine Realm? The heaven ranking of the Divine Realm is a very special place. It's a ranking for the experts, geniuses, and divine objects of the Divine Realm. It's divided into the expert list, genius list, dragon list, holy maiden list, divine object list, exotic beast list, and so on. Wang Yiming said. On this list, it records the top experts, treasures, and even secret skills of the Divine Realm. Those who are on the list are very terrifying. The Holy Maiden list is a list of the most outstanding women in the Divine Realm. The women on this list are all outstanding beauties with extraordinary talents. It's a list that the entire continent pays attention to. Wang Yiming explained, the women on this list are the dream companions of all the geniuses in the Divine Realm. How did these rankings come out? Yang Hongwu asked, or rather, what kind of people and forces did they come up with these rankings? Chapter 1429. Chaotic Sir God, forget it. Looking at Wang Yiming's appearance, he probably didn't know much. Moreover, to Yang Hongwu, it was enough for him to know the general situation in the Divine Realm. After all, he still needed some time to go to the Divine Realm. He wouldn't enter the Divine Realm immediately. As for the so-called Saintess list in the Divine Realm Sky ranking, he would only know how many of them were his women after he entered the Divine Realm. Yang Hongwu only hoped that all of them would be safe and that nothing would happen to them. If anyone dared to harm his women, he would definitely let them know what it meant to live a life worse than death. He would make them regret being born in this world. Master, your subordinate is useless. Please punish me. Wang Yiming saw Yang Hongwu's reaction and immediately knelt down with his head lowered. Yang Hongwu looked at Wang Yiming's performance and couldn't help but sigh at the power of the spiritual servitude divine technique. As long as he showed the slightest hint of dissatisfaction, Wang Yiming would be like this. He had to admit that this secret technique was too terrifying and too powerful. You don't have to be like this. It's not your fault. Yang Hongwu said, do you have anything else that can increase your cultivation or have boundless energy? Something with a huge amount of energy, this... Oh, right, Master, I have something that contains a huge amount of energy. However, the energy is very violent and no one can absorb it. I don't know if it will be of any help to Master. Wang Yiming said, what is it? Take it out and let me see. Yang Hongwu's eyes lit up. To Yang Hongwu, there was no energy that he couldn't absorb and refine. He had the devouring furnace, and his devouring furnace could devour everything. No matter what it was, it could devour it. This is the jade pendant. I obtained this jade pendant from an ancient relic. It contains a terrifying amount of energy. However, this jade pendant is extremely terrifying. Once the physical body comes into contact with the jade pendant, it will cause the Dharma power in the body to go berserk. Moreover, the Dharma power will be absorbed by the jade pendant. If you're not careful, you will be sucked dry and become a cripple. Wang Yiming said, even if you use a special secret method to trigger the energy within the jade pendant, the energy that erupts is extremely violent. There's no way to refine it. Let me see. Yang Hongwu reached out to grab it. Seeing this, Wang Yiming was shocked. Master, you can't. This jade pendant is very strange. You can't touch it directly. It's fine. Yang Hongwu wasn't worried at all. He operated the devouring furnace. He didn't believe that a mere jade pendant could devour his magic power. In front of the devouring furnace, what could stop it? What kind of joke was this? His devouring furnace was supreme, and nothing could stand against it. After grabbing the jade pendant, Yang Hongwu felt a suction force. This suction force was very powerful. It should be a special kind of law power. However, this special kind of law power was so small in front of his devouring furnace. It couldn't resist at all. That suction force was instantly offset by his devouring furnace. In the next moment, Yang Hongwu felt a surge of energy from the jade pendant. This energy was very violent and contained countless negative energy. It's really powerful. Yang Hongwu realized that the negative energy was very violent. The negative energy was all some kind of complicated law power. Since it was the law power, he was sure that this jade pendant wasn't that simple. How could an ordinary jade pendant contain so much law power? Yang Hongwu suddenly thought of a term. The law of chaos. Yes, this should be the law of chaos. Wang Yiming, have you heard of the law of chaos? Yang Hongwu asked. The law of chaos. Wang Yiming cried out in surprise. Master, you're saying that this jade pendant contains the law of chaos. I'm just guessing. Yang Hongwu said, the law of chaos. Rumor has it that the divine domain wasn't originally divided into 13 divine domains. It was the entire continent of the divine domain. At that time, experts were as common as clouds. There were countless experts on the entire continent. However, there was a divine monarch who was extremely powerful and domineering. His name was the divine monarch of chaos. His strength could sweep through the experts on the entire continent. He was the emperor of all the divine monarchs. No one dared to disobey his orders. The divine monarch of chaos? This jade pendant should be related to the so-called divine monarch of chaos. Yang Hongwu said, Congratulations, master. Congratulations on obtaining such a precious treasure. Wang Yiming said happily, the divine monarch of chaos. That was the divine monarch of chaos, a supreme expert of the ancient god domain. Every single one of his possessions was an incomparably precious existence. Even if it was the bed he used, the praying mat he used, and so on, they all contained extremely astonishing laws and supreme secrets. If one could comprehend the mysteries within them, one's strength would improve greatly. 1,000 years ago, a broken futon appeared in the divine domain. That broken futon was used by the divine monarch of chaos. At that time, countless experts started a war for that futon. That war could be said to have been fought until the sky turned dark. Countless experts fell on the battlefield for the sake of that broken futon of the divine monarch of chaos. This showed how precious the items of the divine monarch of chaos were. 5,000 years ago, the Sky-Reaching Alliance obtained the handwriting of the divine monarch of chaos. It was an insignificant handwriting that didn't contain any secret techniques or divine abilities. It was just something that the divine monarch of chaos had casually left behind. After the Sky-Reaching Alliance obtained it, they auctioned it in the Sky-Reaching Auction House. At that time, all the divine monarchs of the 13 divine domains were present. That handwriting was bought by the ancient blue divine monarch for 100 billion divine origin stones. Therefore, in the divine domain, no matter what it was, as long as it was related to the divine monarch of chaos, it was extremely precious. Every single one of them was a supreme treasure that all the major forces fought over. Therefore, when Wang Yiming found out that this jade pendant might have been left behind by the divine monarch of chaos, he was pleasantly surprised. Yes, I hope that after devouring this jade pendant, my cultivation will rise to another level and break through the bottleneck of the half-step Great Emperor realm. Yang Hongwu looked at Wang Yiming and said, "This time, you have done a great service. In the future, I will reward you well." Chapter 1430. Divine Realm Plan. All right, you don't have to be like this. I will remember your contribution and will not treat you unfairly in the future. Yang Hongwu patted his shoulder and said, "However, this time, will you be in trouble when you return to the Divine Realm?" Yang Hongwu was still worried about this matter. This was a very good servant who could help him do many things in the Divine Realm. If he was killed the moment he returned to the Divine Realm, it would be too much of a pity. If the Liu family's Heaven's Oracle is unable to calculate the matters here, then there shouldn't be a big problem. Although the Liu family is powerful, they have many enemies in the Divine Realm. They even have many enemies in the Tai Divine sect. Wang Yiming said, "By the way, are you an array master?" Yang Hongwu looked at him and asked, "Will the arrays I set up be of help to you?" Previously, Wang Yiming had been studying the arrays that he had set up. Moreover, in the process of studying the arrays that he had set up, his strength had continued to increase. If the arrays that he had set up could increase Wang Yiming's strength by a level, it would be good news. After all, Yang Hongwu was not worried that Wang Yiming would betray him. The Divine Spirit Slave technique was too powerful. Even if Wang Yiming's strength increased by a few levels and entered the Divine Monarch realm, it would still be impossible for him to break through the shackles of the Divine Spirit Slave technique. Therefore, it was impossible for him to betray him. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was not worried about Wang Yiming's strength increasing at all. The stronger Wang Yiming was, the more help he would be to him. Therefore, Yang Hongwu naturally hoped that Wang Yiming would become even stronger. Of course, he could give Wang Yiming some arrays. However, Yang Hongwu would not give Wang Yiming some special arrays. After all, Wang Yiming's strength had not reached a very powerful level. Wang Yiming might not be able to protect the memories of some powerful people who had special secret techniques. If the information about those special arrays was leaked, it would not be a good thing. It might cause some unnecessary trouble for him in the future. Of course, Yang Hongwu was not worried about some illusory arrays or unimportant arrays. Yes, Master. Master's array skills are extensive and profound. This subordinate is far from being able to compare. If I can receive Master's guidance, this subordinate's array skills will definitely improve by leaps and bounds, and I will become the Tai Divine Sect's #1 array master. At that time, this subordinate status in the Divine Realm. Then, this subordinate status in the Divine Sect. Liu family and Marshal Hall of the Tai Divine Sect dare to do anything to me. Wang Yang to Yang Yang looks with Yang Yang's tea. Yang Hongwu to be honest, to be to him, two's to be a dog, two's to be a dog. Yang 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 well. Are you saying that if you can fully comprehend the arrays I set up before, your strength will increase by a lot, and you will become the #1 array master of the Tai Divine Sect? Yang Hongwu asked. Yes, Master. Wang Yang nodded. That's good. I have some formations here, as well as some of my understanding of formations. I'll hand them over to you now. I hope that your strength can rise to a higher level. When the time comes, you'll be able to help me in the Divine Domain. Don't die before I go to the Divine Domain. That will be too embarrassing for me. Yang Hongwu flicked his finger as he spoke. Wang Yang did not resist at all. Yang Hongwu's finger landed directly on Wang Yang's forehead. Yang Hongwu transmitted some basic array skills and the key points of arrangement into Wang Yang's mind. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Wang Yang was overjoyed. Although these were basic arrays, Wang Yang found that these arrays had Yang Hongwu's unique understanding. These arrays were much simpler than the arrays he knew. Moreover, they were much more powerful. With this knowledge, his array skills would increase by several times. He was confident that once he digested all of this array knowledge, his array skills would surpass any array master in the Tai Divine Sect. He would even surpass those old antiques in the array formation hall. At that time, when his strength increased, he wouldn't need to fear anyone in the Tai Divine Sect. When he thought of this, Wang Yiming's eyes were filled with reverence when he stared at Yang Hongwu. This was his master. How powerful was he? How majestic was he? No one could compare to him. He was the true, grandest god, the ruler of the myriad worlds. No other experts could be compared to him. It was his greatest honor to be his servant. All right. You don't have to kowtow. Yang Hongwu looked at Wang Yiming, who was kowtowing on the ground. A large crater appeared on the solid ground from his kowtow. Moreover, he did not use any magic power. His head was already swollen. Yang Hongwu did not know whether to laugh or cry when he saw Wang Yiming's foolish behavior. This kind of servant was really annoying and funny. However, one thing was for sure. Wang Yiming was extremely loyal to him. Wang Yiming stood up when he heard Yang Hongwu's words. He said, "Thank you, master. Oh yes, there are some array discs here. They should be of great help to you." Yang Hongwu handed Wang Yiming some array discs. These array discs were casually refined by Yang Hongwu. They were all basic array discs. In fact, these array discs were useless to Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu could arrange some basic array discs with a snap of his fingers. There was no need for array discs at all. Therefore, Yang Hongwu did not need many array discs. The array discs that could be used were some powerful array discs. They were at least Emperor-grade array discs. Only Yang Hongwu needed array discs. Of course, under special circumstances, such as when one's spiritual power and magic power were exhausted, one would need array discs to arrange the array discs. The possibility of such a situation was really low. If it really came to that point, would ordinary basic array discs be of any use? Therefore, Yang Hongwu did not even think about the basic array discs stored in the space. He simply threw them all to Wang Yiming. Chapter 1431. The Power of Faith. In his heart, only his master had the right to keep such precious treasures. He was just a servant. How could he be worthy of such treasures? Therefore, when Yang Hongwu said that he wanted to give these things to him, he was terrified. These things are useless to me. I made them casually. I'm not only an array master, but also a weapon refiner. These things were left behind by me in the past. I don't care for them. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and said, "Besides, if I ask you to take them, you should take them. Are you the master, or am I the master? Do you listen to me, or you listen to you?" Yang Hongwu stared at him. Only then did Wang Yiming hurriedly put everything away. No, master, I'll take them." "That's right." Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, "By the way, there are a few elixirs here. Take them as well. Among these elixirs, there are some formation-breaking elixirs and restriction-breaking elixirs. These elixirs can break any formation or restriction. Of course, the formation I set up is an exception. These elixirs should be of great help to you in the future." Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Wang Yiming's eyes almost popped out. Medicinal pills could actually break formations and restrictions. This was simply unheard of and unseen. It was too shocking and too shocking. Since ancient times, where had there been such pills? Using pills to break arrays. If this news were to spread, the entire divine realm would be turned upside down. It was simply a shocking bomb. What kind of person was his master? No, it should be said, was his master still human? He should be an existence that surpassed monarch God. He should be the creator of thousands of universes. Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? How could there be a way to break arrays with pills? At this moment, Yang Hongwu's position in Wang Yiming's heart rose again. It had reached a level that no one could reach. Yang Hongwu felt a special power. This was a special power of faith. Yang Hongwu's magic power had increased, and a special change had taken place. This special change made Yang Hongwu feel a little surprised. This was a new kind of mana. No, it was not even appropriate to call it mana. The power of faith. Yang Hongwu thought about faith power. In the past, Yang Hongwu also cultivated faith power. Faith power could improve one's cultivation. However, there was a drawback to using faith power to improve one's cultivation. The drawback was that the amount of faith power could improve one's cultivation was dependent on the amount of faith one had. If the faith in him decreased, his strength would also decrease. If their faith crumbled at a critical moment, it would be a devastating blow to the cultivator. Therefore, Yang Hongwu had never thought of using the power of faith to improve his cultivation. After all, it wasn't a good thing. Therefore, Yang Hongwu gave up on cultivating the power of faith. However, this power was more special. It seemed to be the power of faith, but it was stronger than the power of faith. This power would even become stronger with the improvement of Wang Yiming's strength. In other words, the stronger Wang Yiming's strength was, the stronger this power would be. Yang Hongwu could even lend this power to Wang Yiming, allowing him to improve greatly in a short time. This was a good idea. However, Yang Hongwu wouldn't rely on this power. If it wasn't a special situation, he didn't need to mobilize this power at all. Master, thank you, Master. After a while, Wang Yiming came back to his senses and kept the pills. These pills would be of great help to him, especially when he entered some ancient ruins and some special secret realms. These pills could help him break the formations and seals easily. In ancient ruins, there were places where special treasures were hidden. Normally, there would be powerful restrictions and array formations. Even some divine lord powerhouses wouldn't be able to break through those arrays and restrictions. With these pills, he could enter those places. At that time, the treasures he could obtain would definitely be more than the average person. For example, the ancient ruins occupied by the Tai E divine sect had turned into the Tai E relic. In the Tai E relic, there was a vast and mysterious spatial world. That world was very vast, and there were many treasures and opportunities. However, at the same time, it was also very dangerous. Although there were many people and experts who entered the relic to search for treasures, after countless years, the Tai divine sect had only entered a small part of it and didn't dare to go deeper. First, there were countless formations and seals. The slightest carelessness could lead to a tragic death. Of course, there were also many powerful strange beasts. These strange beasts were very powerful and ferocious. They were comparable to divine monarchs. With these pills, array discs, and array formation knowledge, Wang Yiming felt that he could definitely enter the Tai ruins and obtain great benefits. At that time, his strength should be able to increase greatly. Of course, more importantly, he could help his master obtain a huge amount of resources. In his heart, the improvement of his strength and the benefits he could obtain would always be ranked second. The one who ranked first was his master, Yang Hongwu. There was nothing more important than helping his master obtain benefits and resources. Master, with these things, I will definitely be able to help you obtain more resources. I will help you establish a great force in the divine domain and wait for your arrival. Wang Yiming said respectfully, Good, very good. I hope you can do it. When I reach the divine domain, I hope you can establish a force of your own. Yang Hongwu looked at Wang Yiming and said, Don't let me not have a place to stay after I enter the divine domain. Don't worry, Master. I will definitely do it. If I can't even complete a small task after receiving so many treasures from Master, then I will commit suicide as an apology. Wang Yiming immediately made a military pledge when he heard that. This is not a small matter. Yang Hongwu's face darkened. This subordinate was wrong. Master's matter is not a small matter. Master, please punish me. Wang Yiming immediately knelt down when he saw that Yang Hongwu was unhappy. All right, don't kneel down so easily. What I want is not a kowtowing bug. Yang Hongwu said coldly, You are my most important link in the divine domain. I hope you won't disappoint me. When I arrive in the divine domain, I will sweep through all the great forces in the divine domain and become the ruler of the divine domain. Don't worry, Master. This subordinate will do his best for Master. Wang Yiming said. Chapter 1432. Goddess Palace expert Wang Yiming activated the teleportation array and entered the deity domain. Only then did Yang Hongwu release the array formation. The Goddess Palace appeared in front of everyone once again. At this moment, Gong Liani's face was gloomy. She was shocked to see Yang Hongwu. She had already guessed that the people from the Tai E divine sect should have come to the lower realm. However, Yang Hongwu was unscathed, which made her worried. She didn't know what trick this kid had used to deceive the people from the Tai E divine sect. Are you disappointed? Yang Hongwu looked at Gong Liani and lifted a finger, releasing a portion of the seal on Gong Liani, allowing her to speak. Where did you deceive the experts from the Tai Divine sect? Gong Liani shouted at Yang Hanwu. Deceive? Yang Hanwu laughed. What's the Tai Divine sect? They're just a bottom-tier force in the deity domain. I don't even care about them. I'm not even afraid of the top force in the deity domain. Why would I need to deceive a bottom-tier force? Impossible. You're lying. They're experts from the deity domain. Their strength is not something a mere great saint like you can compare to. You're lying. I advise you to let us go and give Yuji to the sky prides of the Tai Divine sect. Otherwise, you're dead. Do you know that? Gong Liani shouted. Stubborn. Yang Hongwu looked at Gong Liani's beautiful face and felt an indescribable disgust. To be honest, Yang Hongwu had never hated a woman so much, let alone a beautiful woman. Are you afraid? Gong Liani smiled when she saw Yang Hongwu's expression. She thought that Yang Hongwu was truly afraid this time. If you obediently let me go and do as I say, I might even be able to plead with the experts of the Tai Divine sect and ask them to spare your death sentence. For the sake of Yuji and Nangong Sini, I won't kill you today. However, you can't escape punishment. After Yang Hongwu finished speaking, he activated the devouring furnace and unleashed a powerful devouring power. This devouring power was like a gigantic dragon, devouring Gong Liani's cultivation base in an instant. My magic power! What kind of demonic technique did you use? You can actually devour my magic power? You! Gong Liani screamed in horror. Earlier, Yang Hongwu only sealed her cultivation and magic power. However, it was different this time. She could clearly feel that her magic power and cultivation were being devoured. If her cultivation base was completely devoured, it meant that her cultivation base was crippled and not sealed. If she wanted to recover, it would take years and months. Moreover, she had many enemies. Even in the goddess palace, there were many who were dissatisfied with her. Her arch-enemies had wanted to replace her for a long time now. Once she lost her cultivation base, she would definitely face a terrible end. Stop it! Stop it! Gong Liani yelled. No matter how tough she was before, she couldn't do so in this situation. Losing her cultivation base was even more terrifying than killing her. She wasn't afraid of death, but she absolutely didn't want to lose her cultivation base because it was a fate worse than death. It was much more terrifying than death. Stop! How is this possible? Yang Hongwu coldly said. I've said before that you can escape death, but you can't escape punishment. I won't kill you, but I will cripple your cultivation. Let's see how arrogant you can be after losing your cultivation base. Yang Hongwu didn't care about Gong Liani's words at all. You can't do this. Yuji, Sini, tell him to stop. Gong Liani saw Yang Hongwu's attitude and could only beg Yang Hongwu for mercy. Master, hearing Gong Liani's words, Nangong Sini's heart softened. She looked at Yang Hongwu. Young Master Yang, can you spare my master this time and not cripple her cultivation base? No, Yang Hongwu coldly said. I've already given her a chance. I'm already being merciful by not killing her now. Junior sister Yuji, please beg young Master Yang to let my master go. Nangong Sini couldn't bear to see her master's cultivation base being crippled. Young Master Yang, Huang Yi also spoke. She also couldn't bear to do it. No, don't tell me you've forgotten what she said just now. Yang Hongwu wasn't a fool, nor was he a soft-hearted person. Not killing a woman like Gong Liani was already letting her off easy. Besides, Yang Hongwu didn't intend to completely cripple her body and give her a chance to cultivate. This was also for Yuji's sake. If it were someone else, Yang Hongwu would have killed them directly. Even if he didn't kill them, he would have completely crippled their cultivation base and body, making it impossible for them to cultivate again and recover their cultivation base. Bastard, you bastard! Kill me if you have the guts. Gong Liani glared at Yang Hongwu when she sensed that more than half of her power had been devoured. She angrily cursed, If you don't kill me, I'll definitely take revenge. I'll tear you to pieces and cut you to pieces. Oomph. Yang Hongwu snorted and increased his devouring power. Yang Hongwu didn't care about Gong Liani's curses at all. He wasn't worried at all. Bang! After Yang Hongwu had devoured nearly 70% of Gong Lianyi's power, a powerful aura burst out. A fist bombarded his back. Yang Hongwu let go of Gong Lianyi and punched back, colliding with the opponent's fist. With a muffled sound, Yang Hongwu was pushed back several steps. The opponent's figure appeared from the void. This person was wearing a purple robe. He looked very elegant and had the demeanor of a master. This was a woman. Her dress was very unisex. Her strength was also very strong, which surprised Yang Hongwu. This person should be the hidden powerhouse of the Goddess Palace. Sir, enough is enough. She has received the punishment she deserves. Why don't we just let it go? This person was Gong Lingfeng of the Goddess Palace. She was an ancestor-level figure of the Goddess Palace. She was extremely powerful and could have broken the shackles and ascended to the divine realm. However, she and another ancestor-level elder were the last cards of the Goddess Palace. In order to protect the Goddess Palace, they didn't ascend to the divine realm. Chapter 1433. 3,000 years of Tao Protector. Ancestor, kill him, kill this little bastard, he crippled my cultivation. Seeing Gong Lingfeng, Gong Lianyi shouted as if she had seen her savior. She knew about Gong Lingfeng. Gong Lingfeng was the most outstanding genius of the Gong clan. She had reached her shackles a few thousand years ago. If she wasn't the guardian ancestor of the Goddess Palace, she would have already ascended to the God realm. Gong Lingfeng could be said to be the most outstanding genius among the older generation of the Goddess Palace. She was even stronger than the founding ancestor of the Goddess Palace. However, Gong Lingfeng's expression slightly changed after hearing Gong Lianyi's words. He bitterly smiled in his heart. This girl's brain had become stupid at this time. If he could do it, he would have already killed Yang Hongwu. Why would he wait until now? Yang Hongwu's strength was too strong. It was beyond her expectations. Unless she used a power that surpassed the half-step true god level, she wouldn't be able to kill Yang Hongwu. However, if she used a power that surpassed the half-step true god level, it would trigger the power of the universal laws and send down a heavenly tribulation to directly lead her to the god realm. This was not what she wanted. She still had a certain understanding of the god realm. In this mortal continent, her strength was at the top. There weren't many people who could compete with her. She was an existence that stood at the peak of this world. However, if she went to the god realm, her strength was nothing. She could only stand at the bottom. Her status could not even be compared to some deacons of the sections. Moreover, she knew that some people who didn't have a backer would be captured after ascending to the god realm. They would be treated as slaves and sent to the mines to be miners. In the lower realm, she was an ancestor of the Goddess Palace. If she went to the god realm, she would be a miner? How could she bear this? Therefore, she didn't want to ascend. You want to kill me? Yang Hongwu smiled. You need to have the ability to do so. Gong Lianyi, I have said that no one could stop me. Since I have said that I will cripple your cultivation, then I will cripple your cultivation. No one can stop me. After saying that, Yang Hongwu turned into a shadow and instantly appeared in front of Gong Lianyi. He grabbed her wrist, and a violent devouring power burst out. This time, Yang Hongwu's devouring speed was even faster. In a breath's time, Gong Lianyi's remaining Fa Li was completely devoured. You dare! Gong was furious. She couldn't defeat Yang Hongwu without using her half-step true god level strength. However, Yang Hongwu was slapping her face, and this made Lianyi's face. This made Gong Lianyi was furious. Gong Lingfeng stretched out her hand and grabbed Yang Hongwu. A powerful force rolled up a whirlwind. In front of this powerful force, the space was constantly shaking as if it was about to be shattered. This big hand instantly appeared in front of Yang Hongwu and grabbed Yang Hongwu's head. If he was caught, he wouldn't have a good time. Yang Hongwu grabbed Gong Lianyi and dodged the attack. The attack landed on the wall behind him, and the solid dragon breaking stone was smashed into pieces. This showed the strength of this grab. Here you go. Yang Hongwu threw Gong Lianyi over. Gong Lingfeng caught Gong Lianyi. At this time, Gong Lingfeng's face was pale. Gong Lianyi's spiritual power was completely gone and her cultivation was crippled. Although her battle physique was still intact, It wouldn't be easy for her to recover her cultivation. Gong Liani couldn't be the palace lord of the goddess palace anymore. Without strength, she naturally couldn't deter the other elders. Naturally, she couldn't be the palace lord of the goddess palace anymore. Brat, are you provoking me? Do you know? Gong Lingfeng coldly looked at Yang Hongwu. You're a genius. I can't deny this. However, this is the goddess palace, and I'm the master of the goddess palace. You crippled my palace lord in front of me. Do you know your crime? The master of the goddess palace? Yang Hongwu smiled and looked at her. So what? Can you kill me? I admit that you're very strong and I can't kill you. However, if I can't kill you, I can kill them. Gong Lingfeng pointed at Yuji and the other girls. Yang Hongwu heard this and narrowed his eyes. His pupils instantly shrunk like a needle's eye. Are you threatening me? Yang Hongwu hated it the most when others threatened him. Previously, it was Gong Liani and now it was Gong Lingfeng. These two were from the Gong clan. No wonder they were a family. Their temper was so bad and their tone was so arrogant. They always thought that they were number one in the world. As for Gong Lingfeng, Yang Hongwu could see that this old woman's strength was indeed very strong. In this Sangshan continent, there weren't many people who were stronger than her. There should be one in the Common Life Temple and one in the south of the Central Continent. There were only two people whose aura was stronger than Gong Lingfeng. Of course, the two old dragons on the Dragon Island didn't count. I'll give you a chance to live. Restore Gong Liani's cultivation and become a consecrator of the Goddess Palace. Protect the Goddess Palace for 3,000 years, and I won't care about your disrespectful crime. Gong Lingfeng said. Yang Hongwu was a little surprised when he heard this. He thought that Gong Lingfeng would say something stupid. He didn't expect that Gong Lingfeng would make a reasonable request. However, this was only true for ordinary people. For Yang Hongwu, it was a different story. It was impossible to restore Gong Liani's cultivation. She threatened his woman and revealed his trump card. She actually wanted to give his woman to Lu Lin. Not killing her was already giving face to Nangong Sini. As for helping her recover her cultivation, that was out of the question. The other condition was to become a consecrator of the Goddess Palace and protect the Goddess Palace for 3,000 years. This was absolutely impossible. What a joke. 3,000 years was too long for Yang Hongwu. Not to mention 3,000 years. Even 1 year was impossible. Yang Hongwu would definitely not agree. Yang Hongwu couldn't help but admit that Gong Lingfeng's plan was well thought out. In fact, Gong Lingfeng also thought so. Yang Hongwu was too outstanding, too monstrous. He hadn't even broken through to the great emperor realm, and his strength was already so terrifying. Moreover, the formation that Yang Hongwu had set up made her feel frightened and threatened. She knew very well that if Yang Hongwu were to set up that formation, she would only be able to break through it and leave this place even if she were to use all of her cultivation and unleash all of her power. Chapter 1434. Fragments of the World. Are you kidding me? Yang Hongwu looked at Gong Lingfeng and said, You want me to recover Gong Liani's cultivation and protect the Goddess Palace for 3,000 years? What a joke. You don't agree? Gong Lingfeng's face sank. A powerful aura instantly burst out and enveloped Yang Hongwu. Are you looking for death? If you don't agree, then they will die. You're really a toad yawning. What a big tone. Yang Hongwu said coldly, You don't know how high the sky is. In this common people's continent, no one can kill my woman. No one can threaten my woman. Anyone who does that will die. You will not be an exception. Stubborn. Gong Lingfeng snorted. Since that's the case, then I'll kill one of you first. After saying that, Gong Lingfeng punched out. This punch seemed ordinary, but it contained a terrifying power. It was as if it was surrounded by the terrifying power of death. This punch rushed towards Bairan. You're looking for death. Gong Lingfeng also angered Yang Hongwu. He dared to attack Bairan. This was simply unforgivable. An item appeared in Yang Hongwu's hand. It was a battle blade. On the battle blade, there was a giant dragon circling around it. It was filled with supreme power. The power that exploded out was enough to break any law. Hongmeng Battle Blade. This was a powerful battle blade. Today, Yang Hongwu's strength was several times stronger than before. When he used the Hongmeng battle blade again, his battle strength was naturally several times stronger than before. Raging Dragon breaks the sky. Yang Hongwu roared. He clenched the battle blade with both hands and slashed down. The terrifying blade, Qi, turned into a giant dragon and rushed towards Gong Lingfeng's fist. Peng! Two powerful forces collided with each other, bursting out a terrifying light, illuminating the whole world. The surrounding space was collapsing, and the solid ground was constantly breaking and shattering, as if it had suffered a terrible impact. It was collapsing little by little. This side of the world was about to turn into nothingness in front of these two overbearing forces. The entire Goddess Peak seemed to be unable to bear the impact of this overbearing force. The entire huge mountain range was about to break and collapse. Seeing this, the female disciples of the Goddess Palace were all terrified. If this continued, the entire Goddess Peak would be completely destroyed. How terrifying would that be? For many disciples of the Goddess Palace was their home. They had been here since they could remember. They had been here. They had grown up and cultivated here. The Goddess Peak was their foundation. If the Goddess Peak collapsed and the Goddess Palace was destroyed, then they would lose a lot. They would lose their home. Seeing this scene, Yang Hongwu did not remain indifferent. He waved his hand and a formation appeared. This formation burst out a powerful force and formed a defense. It enveloped the Goddess Peak and those who were not hostile to Yang Hongwu in the Goddess Palace. However, there were some people who were not so lucky. Those people, like Gong Liani, did not have a good impression of Yang Hongwu from the very beginning. They even attacked him. In fact, Yang Hongwu would not protect the disciples who attacked Yuji. Under the impact of this terrifying force, they did not have any power to resist. They were instantly killed by this powerful and overbearing force. Crack! With a crisp sound, Gong Lingfeng's arm was cut off by Yang Hongwu. Gong Lingfeng roared. Bastard, you actually injured me. You damn beast, you actually cut off my right hand. You are courting death. At this time, Gong Lingfeng became crazy. Yang Hongwu found that the entire Goddess Peak erupted with an astonishing force. This astonishing force came from the depths of the Goddess Peak. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. This force, Yang Hongwu had a familiar feeling. This was not an ordinary energy. If he guessed correctly, this energy should be the power of the World Fragment. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. The World Fragment, what a great thing. For Yang Hongwu, it was of great help. It could help him open the inner world and restore the power of the inner world. Previously, Yang Hongwu had refined a small world, which allowed him to open the space of the Immortal Pagoda. However, Mao and the others were still unable to be unsealed. Although the space of the Immortal Pagoda had been opened, it had not been completely restored. This was because the space of the Immortal Pagoda had been integrated into his inner world. Therefore, if he wanted to truly open it, he would need more world origin energy. It was not an easy task to obtain the world origin energy. Yang Hongwu had not reached the point where he could convert all spiritual energy into the world origin energy. The world's origin energy was unique. Only when one's strength reached a certain level could he transform ordinary spiritual qi. Moreover, the transformation rate was very low. Yang Hongwu did not have that much time. The only way to quickly restore the world origin was to devour and refine other worlds to restore his inner world. Therefore, when he found out that the core of the Goddess Peak was a world fragment, Yang Hongwu was naturally overjoyed. Although this world fragment was not too big, it contained a considerable amount of world origin energy. After refining this energy, he might be able to restore his inner world to twice its current size. This made Yang Hongwu very happy. Not only do I want to cut off your right hand, I also want to destroy your soul. Yang Hongwu looked indifferently at Gong Lingfeng and said, Originally, you didn't have to die. However, you were stubborn and kept provoking me. Therefore, in order to avoid such troublesome matters in the future, I can only kill you completely. Good, very good. Little B Astra starred, you really talk big. Do you really think that I can't do anything to you? At this time, Gong Lingfeng's arm had already recovered. Her strength continued to increase, and her aura became even stronger and more terrifying. The entire Goddess Peak was enveloped by this powerful force. The sky seemed to be unable to withstand this terrifying power and was about to shatter. Yang Hongwu knew that this was Gong Lingfeng completely releasing her cultivation and no longer hiding her strength. The special energy of the Goddess Peak, the power of the world fragment, isolated the Goddess Peak and concealed the secrets of heaven. Chapter 1435. IQ Crush. However, even though Gong Lingfeng could unleash a power that surpassed the half-step true god realm and was comparable to a Tai true god, it was not limitless. The fragment of the Goddess Peak could conceal it for a period of time, but it was not enough to conceal it completely. If the power that she unleashed was too strong and lasted for too long, it would still be sensed by the laws of this world. In that case, the power of the heavenly tribulation would descend, and the passage to the divine domain would appear, forcing her to leave this plane. If she forced herself to stay, the heavenly tribulation would evolve into an even stronger and more terrifying heavenly punishment. At this level of strength, although they were incomparably powerful and didn't need to worry about the power of the heavenly tribulation, it was different if they faced the heavenly punishment. They still had no way to resist the power of the heavenly punishment. They were not Yang Hongwu. Go to hell. Gong Lingfeng, who had unleashed a powerful power, was incomparably confident this time. Although she was unwilling to unleash such a powerful power, it was all worth it. As long as she could kill Yang Hongwu, it was all worth it. The terrifying power seemed to be able to shatter everything, causing the entire space to collapse and turn into nothingness. This kind of power was not something that an ordinary person could withstand. This kind of power had already surpassed the limit of the common people's continent. In Gong Lingfeng's eyes, Yang Hongwu was already a dead man. Gong Liani was also wild with joy. Yang Hongwu was going to die this time. He was definitely going to die. Gong Lingfeng's power was undeniable. In fact, the idea of handing Yuji over to the Tai divine sect was not only her own plan, but also Gong Lingfeng's idea. Moreover, after handing Yuji over, they would obtain a large amount of resources and Gong Lingfeng would take up the majority. After all, Gong Lingfeng was not an ordinary half-step true God realm expert. Her strength had already surpassed the half-step true God realm. In the common people's continent, there were not many things that could increase her cultivation. If she wanted to break through and become stronger in this world, she would need a higher level of spiritual energy. This spiritual energy was the divine origin stone of the deity domain. Although the divine origin stone was precious in the deity domain, it was not something that did not exist. After all, the experts in the deity domain used the divine origin stone to cultivate. Once one's cultivation reached the Tai true God realm, one would need resources to increase one's cultivation. For the cultivators in the deity domain, the divine origin stone was indispensable. Without the divine origin stone, most of them would not be able to improve their cultivation, and their cultivation might even regress. Hence, divine origin stones were extremely important to divine realms martial artists. Without the divine source stone, regardless of how outstanding one's talent was, most people would only be at the bottom of the heap. The reason why Gong Lingfeng had agreed to exchange Yuji for resources was because of the divine origin stone. After knowing that Yang Hongwu was very powerful and had chased away the people from the Tai divine sect, Gong Lingfeng could not help but launch a sneak attack on Yang Hongwu. However, she never thought that Yang Hongwu's strength would be so strong, and his reaction would be so agile that he could easily avoid her sneak attack. In view of Yang Hongwu's powerful strength, she had planned to avoid Yang Hongwu's attack. She wanted to feign civility with Yang Hongwu and allow Yang Hongwu to recover Gong Liani's cultivation and become a consecrator of the goddess palace. In her opinion, this was not a harsh condition. Her goal was to temporarily stabilize Yang Hongwu and wait for the experts from the Tai divine sect to arrive. At that time, Yang Hongwu would definitely face the people from the Tai divine sect. Although Yang Hongwu was powerful and talented, he was just a mortal and a great sage. Even if he was very special, he would not be able to withstand the revenge of the Tai divine sect. Hence, Yang Hanwu would definitely die at that time. She did not need to take such a big risk to face Yang Hanwu. However, her dream was too perfect. This development did not go as she wished at all. Yang Hanwu did not agree to her request and completely ruined her plan. In fact, if she had known that the people from the Tai divine sect had already arrived and that the genius from the Tai divine sect had been killed by Yang Hanwu, she would not have thought this way. You want me to die? Naive. Yang Hanwu sneered. With a wave of his hand, a huge light screen appeared. This was a formation. It was the formation that Yang Hanwu had set up with the scroll of good fortune. Although Yang Hanwu had removed the formation at the beginning, he had not completely removed it. He had only removed it temporarily. This was because Yang Hanwu had sensed a threat. How could Yang Hanwu be stupid enough to remove the formation completely before he was fully confident? As expected, Gong Lingfeng had appeared. This guy could even restrain his aura and avoid the heavenly Tao law. He had unleashed the power of a Tai true god. If Yang Hanwu had removed the formation completely before this, he would have been in great danger now. Even if he was fine, by Iran and the others were different. Once the power of a Tai true god was fully unleashed, Yang Hanwu might not even have the time to send by Iran and the others into the Dragon Gate space or the Immortal Pagoda space. Although the strength of a half-step true god was only half a step away from the Tai true god realm, the difference in strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. A true Tai true god realm expert could easily kill countless half-step true gods. Seal! Yang Hanwu shouted. An ancient seal appeared and landed on Gong Lingfeng's body. This power shackled Gong Lingfeng's power instantly. Gong Lingfeng's expression changed drastically. Gong Liani saw this and shouted, "Old ancestor, be careful. This little bastard has a special secret technique that can seal his spiritual power and cultivation." Damn it! Why didn't you say so earlier, you idiot? Gong Lingfeng's expression changed when she felt her spiritual power being restricted and her cultivation and fighting strength being greatly reduced. This was too terrifying. She did not expect Yang Hanwu to have mastered such a terrifying secret technique. She did not know at first, but now she knew how terrifying Yang Hanwu was. At this time, she realized that Yang Hanwu had unknowingly activated the formation. Yang Hanwu did not remove the formation. Moreover, it only took a breath to activate the formation. She knew that she had been tricked. Damn it, do you think you can seal me? Gong Lingfeng shouted. Her aura erupted as she tried to break free from the seal. Chapter 1436. Crazy woman, you are too naive if you want to get rid of my seal. If your cultivation had surpassed Tai real God, you might be able to do it. However, it is absolutely impossible for the current you. The formation that I have set up is not that simple. Yang Hanwu laughed coldly. Today, you will definitely die. No one can save you. Damn it, I don't believe it. I am an expert of Tai, true God realm. I am a true God in this common people's continent. No one can seal me. You are just an ant of great sage realm. How can you do it? I don't believe it. Open. Gong Lingfeng's face was ferocious as she roared loudly. Green veins popped out on her jade white arm. They were like earthworms that covered her entire arm. Her face was ferocious as a powerful aura burst out. It was as if she wanted to shatter Yang Hanwu's seal. Yang Hanwu looked at the scene, but he did not take it to heart. He sneered and shouted, "Seal." He formed a seal with both of his hands. The seal that was about to be broken suddenly burst out with a dazzling light. In the next moment, the seal instantly entered Gong Lingfeng's body. Gong Lingfeng's body went soft, and she sat on the ground. My cultivation base, my magic power, has really been sealed, she murmured. At this moment, Gong Lingfeng could not feel her magic power. This meant that her cultivation had been completely sealed. At this moment, her physical body was only slightly stronger than some ordinary people. Without cultivation and magic power, she was like a tiger without teeth. She was no threat at all. Any random warrior could even kill her. At this moment, she finally understood why Gong Liani became so crazy and irrational. Wasn't she the same now? Without cultivation, without magic power. How terrifying was that? It was completely unbearable. This feeling was even more terrifying than death. It was simply worse than death. Little bastard, hurry up and undo my seal. Do you know? Are you courting death? Gong Lingfeng seemed to still have a trump card. She shouted loudly, full of confidence. Looking at Yang Hongwu, her eyes flashed with madness. You still dare to be arrogant? As a prisoner, you still dare to be so impudent. You simply don't know life from death, Yang Hongwu said coldly. If you don't want them to die here, you'd better undo my seal and let me go, Gong Lingfeng said. Impossible. Today you must die. As Yang Hongwu spoke, he slowly walked towards Gong Lingfeng. Every step he took sounded like he was stepping on Gong Lingfeng's heart. Without her cultivation and magic power, how could she resist Yang Hongwu's pressure? Her body began to tremble under the immense pressure, but her eyes were still filled with madness and hatred. Then die with me. Gong Lingfeng went crazy and laughed loudly. Her hair was scattered and a terrifying aura was rising in her body, causing people to tremble. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes, and a bad premonition arose in his heart. He was surprised to find that the world fragment in the depths of the Goddess Peak had begun to expand. That terrifying power seemed to be released. Yang Hongwu thought of something that made Yang Hongwu very worried. That was, a part of the world fragment in the depths of the Goddess Peak had already been refined by Gong Lingfeng, and it had already recognized her as its master. If it wasn't for the suppression of the power of laws in the mortal world, Gong Lingfeng's cultivation would have already reached the late stage of Tai, true God, or even the peak. However, because Gong Lingfeng didn't know how to completely refine the world fragment, she didn't know how to create her own inner world. How could her strength have only reached such a level? However, although Gong Lingfeng didn't know how to use the world fragment to create her own inner world, she could control a part of the world fragment. She could mobilize the power in the world fragment, which was the origin energy of the world. Once she detonated the origin energy of the world, it would cause a terrifying change. By then, the entire Goddess Peak, and even the entire Goddess Peak within 100,000 feet radius, would turn into nothingness. It was the same situation that Yang Hongwu had encountered previously. When the world collapsed, it would definitely create a void crack. In that case, it would be extremely dangerous. Yuji ran, enter my Dragon Gate world first. Yang Hongwu said to Bai Ran, Yuji, Lu Li, and the other girls. I can help you. Lu Li said, brother, you know my strength. Moreover, I have a powerful treasure to protect myself. It's enough to protect myself. No. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, this isn't something that you can resist. Even my Dragon Gate might not be able to resist it. Only when you enter the Dragon Gate world can I be at ease. Otherwise, you will only be a burden to me and make me worry. Brother, Lu Li couldn't help but stomp her feet and said, I'm very strong. I'm not as weak as you think. This isn't a matter of your strength. Yang Hongwu saw Lu Li's reaction and couldn't help but smile bitterly. The reason is very special. Although you're strong, you don't have your own inner world. Therefore, you can't resist the power of the world. Now, this problem is caused by the power of the world. If you can't stop it, this space will collapse. Do you think you can withstand the impact of such power? Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Lu Li was speechless. She knew in her heart that if the world collapsed, there was absolutely no way for her to resist the impact of the power of the world. Well, Lu Li, don't say any more. If you continue, there won't be enough time. I'll send you into the Dragon Gate world now. Cultivate well in the Dragon Gate. If there's no accident, I'll go to the Divine Domain soon. At that time, if your cultivation hasn't improved, you won't be able to help me. After Yang Hongwu finished speaking, he waved his hand and a ray of light appeared, enveloping the girls. In the next moment, the light flashed and the girls disappeared. They were sent into the Dragon Gate world by Yang Hongwu. Chapter 1437. Power of the Way of Heaven. You found out too late. Yang Hongwu said coldly, since you know that I have an inner world, even if you self-destruct that world fragment, you won't be able to kill me. At most, you'll injure me. However, your soul will scatter and you won't have any chance of survival. Ha! I never thought that Gong Ling Feng, would end up like this after all my scheming. I hate it, I hate it. If I had obtained that inheritance back then, I could have refined this goddess peak into my inner world. Unfortunately, that damned woman schemed against me before she died. Gong Ling Feng was in complete despair. The world fragment had begun to explode. She knew very well that she had no chance. Death was her only fate. At this moment, Yang Hongwu's face was solemn. He really wanted to obtain this world fragment. The problem now was how he could prevent this world fragment from exploding. Once it completely exploded, he would have no chance at all. Moreover, not only would he not be able to obtain the world fragment, he would also have to bear the impact of the world energy. The power of the world fragment's self-destruction was unimaginable. Although it was only a fragment of a world, the power and origin source law it contained were extremely terrifying. Once it exploded, it would be even more terrifying than the collapse of the small world. Seal! Yang Hongwu roared again. He unleashed all of his power, wanting to seal this fragment of the world completely. However, to Yang Hongwu's surprise, the power of this world fragment was beyond his imagination. The energy contained in this world fragment was of a much higher level than that of Zhong Wang's small world. They were obviously not on the same level. There was a huge difference between small worlds. Even if it was only a difference of one level, the difference was like heaven and earth. Furthermore, the level of this world fragment was more than one level higher than the level of the Zhong Wang small world. Therefore, the energy contained in this world fragment was several times more than the world origin energy in Zhong Wang's mini-world. If he could obtain it and devour it, he might be able to recover to the martial monarch realm. However, the problem now was that it was difficult for him to seal the rampaging power of the world. You want to seal it? It's impossible. Gong Ling Feng smiled. You're dreaming. I've already detonated a strand of my origin energy. The entire goddess peak is about to collapse. Everything within 30,000 meters is about to be reduced to nothingness. Even the space here is about to shatter. Unless you reach the monarch god realm, you won't be able to seal it. You won't be able to stop the goddess peak from collapsing. You won't be able to stop the world fragment from exploding. Ha! Ha! I know you want my world fragment, but I won't let you succeed. Looking at Gong Ling Feng's crazy smile, Yang Hongwu couldn't wait to teach Gong Ling Feng a lesson. This woman was truly a lunatic. However, if it were him, he wouldn't compromise either. The best choice would be to drag his enemy down with him. Just as Yang Hongwu was feeling helpless and was about to escape, a light flashed across Yang Hongwu's mind. He thought of a way. Release the formation, break the world fragment, and deceive the heavenly Tao. Use the power of the heavenly Tao to suppress the world fragment. Yang Hongwu immediately took action. At this moment, he waved his hand and simply opened the formation completely, removing the formation plate. Seeing Yang Hongwu doing this, Gong Ling Feng was puzzled and said, "You're destined to die with me. No matter how many methods you have, you won't be able to change this fact. Even if you don't die, you'll definitely be severely injured. You won't be able to avoid all this. No matter what you do, it's futile and meaningless. Don't waste your time." Humph. Yang Hongwu snorted and said, "Do you really think that's the case? Do you really think that I'm out of ideas? If that's the case, then you're underestimating me." Open. A cold light shot out from Yang Hongwu's eyes. He flicked his finger and used the Jingxin finger. This finger contained 90% of Yang Hongwu's power. At this moment, the world fragment in the depths of the goddess peak was collapsing, so the power was more likely to be detonated. Yang Hongwu's Jingxin finger, which contained 90% of his power, instantly shattered the seal on this space and the shield against the heavenly Tao. The shield was shattered, and the power of the heavenly Tao instantly descended. The will of the heavenly Tao sensed danger. This was a huge danger, a danger of the space being destroyed. Although the will of the heavenly Tao didn't have intelligence and only had instincts, how could it ignore such a dangerous situation? Therefore, the power of the heavenly Tao's laws instantly enveloped this space. A powerful force burst out and enveloped the entire goddess peak. The force was vast and boundless. It formed a giant seal that was trying to suppress the fragment of the world of the goddess peak and seal it away. However, the world fragment's origin energy had already been detonated, and there was no way to stop it. Even the will of the heavenly Tao could only suppress it. At this moment, the heavenly Tao sensed Yang Hongwu's existence. Yang Hongwu had previously obtained a huge amount of merit because Yang Hongwu had repaired the void crack in this world. Therefore, a force surged into Yang Hongwu's body. This was the power of the heavenly Tao. When the power of the heavenly Tao entered Yang Hongwu's body, Yang Hongwu felt that his cultivation realm was increasing continuously, and his cultivation was breaking through continuously. This made Yang Hongwu very surprised. However, Yang Hongwu knew that this was because the heavenly Tao couldn't eliminate the danger in front of him and prevent the world fragment from being detonated. Therefore, the will of the heavenly Tao poured its power into his body, using his physical body to prevent all of this from happening. Or it could directly lead the world fragment that was about to explode and collapse into the void. Even if it was a temporary increase in strength, Yang Hongwu was still very happy. Yang Hongwu could devour this power. To Yang Hongwu, this was all nourishment. The devouring furnace was activated instantly. Only a fool would give up such a good opportunity. Originally, Yang Hongwu thought that he would have to devour the Chaos God's Jade Pendant or the world fragment to break through the current bottleneck and enter the Great Emperor realm. Chapter 1438. Wealth comes from danger, devouring furnace. Open. Devour. Devour everything. Yang Hongwu roared as he began to devour the power of the heavens Tao. The will of the heavenly way sensed Yang Hongwu's action. However, the will of the heavenly way was helpless at this moment. Since Yang Hongwu wanted the horse's carriage, how could there be such a good thing in the world? Therefore, the will of the heavenly way could only turn a blind eye to Yang Hongwu's actions. Moreover, even if this kid devoured the heavenly energy with all his might, how much could he devour and refine? After all, the heavenly energy wasn't something that could be easily digested. Of course, if Yang Hongwu's physique wasn't good enough, the will of the heavenly way would need to strengthen his physical body when it poured the energy into Yang Hongwu's body. That would be even more troublesome. In fact, the will of the heavenly way wasn't that smart. It hadn't truly given birth to its own intelligence. When Yang Hongwu was devouring the heavenly energy, the will of the heavenly way didn't do anything even though it sensed it. Instead, it poured the heavenly energy into Yang Hongwu to increase his strength even faster. However, when the heavenly energy was poured in and reached a certain level, the will of the heavenly way pushed Yang Hongwu's body into the world fragment, which was the core of the goddess peak. Yang Hongwu obviously knew the will of the heavenly way's intention. It wanted to use his body to take away the world fragment and leave this world. This was to prevent the common people's continent from being damaged when a world fragment exploded. Therefore, the will of the heavenly way didn't care about giving Yang Hongwu more heavenly energy. Compared to the damage caused by the explosion of the world fragment, the will of the heavenly way was nothing. The will of the heavenly way only needed time to recover the heavenly energy. Once the world fragment exploded and shattered the common people's continent, a world crack would appear. It would be even more troublesome, and it would cause a huge loss. It might even affect the entire world plane. Therefore, the will of the heavenly way didn't care about such a small loss. More importantly, there was merit on Yang Hongwu's body. The will of the heavenly way could naturally recognize this merit. Therefore, it could be said that Yang Hongwu had taken advantage of the heavenly way this time. When Yang Hongwu got closer to the world fragment, he was overjoyed. Although the will of the Great Path had only suppressed the fragment temporarily, this was still an excellent opportunity for Yang Hongwu. It was the best opportunity to devour this fragment of the world. Devouring furnace, open. A huge furnace appeared above Yang Hongwu's head. This huge furnace was like a giant beast that opened its mouth and swallowed the world fragment in an instant. Courting death. You are courting death. Seeing that Yang Hongwu was courting death and had swallowed the world fragment into the devouring furnace, Gong Lingfeng was overjoyed. The world fragment was suppressed by the will of the heavenly way of the common people's continent. Yang Hongwu could have sent it into the void and left the world plane. Then, the world fragment would explode outside the common people's continent and be destroyed. Then, it wouldn't affect Yang Hongwu. This made Gong Lingfeng very unhappy. However, Yang Hongwu was courting death and had swallowed the world fragment into his body. If this wasn't courting death, then what was? Unless it was an existence that surpassed the Tai true God realm, no one could suppress or refine the world fragment that was about to explode. Even for those half-step divine monarchs, after swallowing such a world fragment, the world fragment would explode in their body. Even if it couldn't kill them, it would still cause them serious injuries. It was the same for those experts who had an internal world. If the internal world wasn't strong enough, it would be even more terrifying. The world fragment would probably detonate their internal world and cause a series of terrifying changes. Gong Lingfeng knew that she was going to die. After she had detonated the world fragment, Yang Hongwu had broken her shield against the will of the heavenly way. The will of the heavenly way had locked onto her. Although her cultivation base had recovered, she was still seriously injured. Moreover, even if she wasn't seriously injured, she still couldn't face the wrath of the heavenly way. However, it was worth it to see Yang Hongwu die with her. However, what Gong Lingfeng didn't know was that the reason why Yang Hongwu did this was because he was completely confident. He wouldn't be so foolish as to send himself to his death. The world fragment had been suppressed, and Yang Hongwu could swallow and refine it. Yang Hongwu's devouring furnace was terrifying. Without the help of the will of the heavenly way, Yang Hongwu had to divert some of his energy to suppress the world fragment. Moreover, he couldn't suppress it for long. However, with the help of the will of the heavenly way, Yang Hongwu could go all out to devour the world fragment. However, what happened in the next moment made Yang Hongwu's balls ache. He swallowed the world fragment into the furnace and devoured it crazily. Not long after, he felt a huge repulsive force. This made Yang Hongwu furious. The will of the heavenly way wanted to send him out of the world fragment. Annoyed, this was something that made him very annoyed. A void passage appeared. Yang Hongwu could see that this passage contained majestic spiritual energy. Obviously, this spiritual energy was higher than the spiritual energy in the common people's continent. The will of the heavenly way wanted to send him directly to a higher world fragment. Yang Hongwu knew that the will of the heavenly way was worried about the world fragment. It didn't think that Yang Hongwu could swallow this world fragment. Sending it into the void was definitely impossible. After all, it could only be sent to the edge of this world. Once it exploded, it would have a huge impact on the common people's continent. As a result, it could only be sent to a higher world fragment, such as the divine domain. After being sent to the divine domain, even if the world fragment exploded, it wouldn't affect the common people's continent. After all, the suppression of the divine domain's law was very strong. The collapse of a little world fragment wasn't a big deal. At most, it would only cause some damage. It wouldn't take long for it to recover. This method of the will of the heavenly way made Yang Hongwu very angry, but there was nothing he could do. Damn the will of the heavenly way. Yang Hongwu cursed, but he had no way to resist this power. After all, he was still devouring the fragment of the world. If he stopped, he would not be able to suppress the fragment of the world. Once it's self-destructed, he would be done for. Therefore, even if he was angry, he could only endure it. Chapter 1439. Dangers abound. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Hongwu was sent into the passage. After a few breaths, he appeared in another world. In this world, the density of spiritual energy was several times that of the common people's continent. The level of spiritual energy here was clearly much higher than that of the common people's continent. Divine realm. This should be the divine realm. Yang Hanwu did not expect that he would be sent into the divine realm under such circumstances. However, at this moment, Yang Hanwu did not have the mood to appreciate the scenery in the divine realm, nor did he have the mood to pay attention to his surroundings. This was because the world fragment in his body had lost the suppression of the heavenly energy and had begun to collapse. Therefore, Yang Hanwu had to refine this world fragment with all his might. Fortunately, Yang Hanwu had already devoured a portion of the world fragment before this. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Moreover, the world fragment had been isolated here. Gong Lingfeng did not have the ability to control this world fragment. Therefore, Yang Hanwu was more relaxed. Otherwise, with Gong Lingfeng causing trouble, it would be more troublesome. At this moment, Yang Hanwu was under great pressure. Although he had already devoured a portion of the world fragment, it was only a small portion. The enormous energy seemed to be unable to be suppressed. Damn, the heavenly energy. Yang Hanwu was depressed. If he had more time, he would not have any pressure at all. He could devour the world fragment without much risk and directly break through to the great emperor realm. At this moment, Yang Hanwu's energy was used to suppress and devour the remaining world fragment. He did not have time to break through the bottleneck and increase his cultivation. In fact, if he had a little more time, even if it was just a dozen breaths of time, it would be enough for Yang Hanwu to break through the bottleneck and enter the great emperor realm. After all, the energy he needed to break through to the great emperor realm was sufficient. However, he couldn't divert his attention to make a breakthrough, because he was at the most critical moment. Even the slightest distraction would lead to an irreversible price. The price was too great, and Yang Hanwu didn't dare to take the risk. A breath passed. 2 breaths passed. Although the world fragment was on the verge of collapse, it was successfully suppressed by Yang Hanwu. However, for Yang Hanwu, it was indeed stressful. At this moment, Yang Hanwu was like an ordinary person walking on a tightrope. Moreover, he was walking on a tightrope above a bottomless abyss. If he was not careful, he would fall into the bottomless abyss and be consigned to eternal damnation. Yang Hanwu's forehead was covered in sweat. His whole body was drenched as if he had been washed by the heavy rain. His mind was highly focused. However, at this moment, his danger had only just begun. Not far from Yang Hanwu, a big snake appeared. The snake's body was huge, hundreds of feet long. Its huge body was like a moving train. Its huge eyes were like large lanterns, and they were crimson in color. As its body moved, the surrounding trees were crushed. Large rocks were crushed under its body. Anything that stood in its way was destroyed. The giant snake was the famous destructive berserk dragon in Deity Plane. It was a ferocious, exotic beast with terrifying strength. An adult destructive berserk dragon's strength was comparable to an expert at the peak of primordial true god. Moreover, the giant snake had hard scales all over its body. It was invulnerable to weapons, water, and fire. Ordinary attacks had no effect on it. Most importantly, this kind of huge snake had the bloodline of dragons. To it, the power of the bloodline of dragons was its nourishment. It could help it evolve. At this moment, this destruction berserk dragon felt the aura of a dragon on Yang Hanwu. Although it was very weak, it was very pure and very high level. This was a huge temptation to it. However, it did not devour Yang Hanwu directly. This was because it felt the existence of danger. It was because there was a violent power in Yang Hanwu's body. It was a terrifying energy. This energy made it feel threatened. If this energy were to explode, it would be enough to crush it. Although it was dangerous and terrifying, the pure power of the bloodline of dragons in Yang Hanwu's body was a huge temptation to it. If it could devour the power of the bloodline of dragons in Yang Hanwu's body, it could evolve. It could even become a real dragon, a destruction real dragon. It was said that the destruction berserk dragon was a descendant of the destruction real dragon clan. It had the bloodline of the destruction real dragon. However, the destruction real dragon's bloodline was very thin. The destruction real dragon clan was a very ancient clan. It was said that there were as many true god experts as there were hairs on a cow. Even Sir Gods were a dime a dozen. Facing the danger of the outside world, Yang Hongwu did not feel it all. At this moment, he was devouring the power of the fragment of the world. After dozens of breaths, the violent fragment of the world was finally suppressed by Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu had devoured more than half of the origin energy of the fragment of the world. At this moment, Yang Hongwu was ready to divert a part of his energy to break through the bottleneck and enter the Great Emperor realm. After all, Yang Hongwu had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Finally, he could enter the Great Emperor realm again. Yang Hongwu could not hold it in anymore. At this moment, his foundation was much stronger than before. It was very vigorous. Moreover, the power he had devoured was sufficient. The heavenly energy and the origin energy of the fragment of the world were very abundant. Moreover, the spiritual qi in the divine domain was very abundant. All of these were enough for Yang Hongwu to break through without any side effects. Therefore, Yang Hongwu did not hesitate and started to break through. Yang Hongwu's aura started to change, and his aura started to rise. Massive pillars of light appeared around him, and they were incredibly powerful. These light pillars were the Emperor runes. These Emperor runes were very terrifying. There were so many of them that it was shocking. Moreover, every Emperor rune was very clear. The runes on them were very ancient and mysterious. They were filled with a terrifying aura. Compared to the Emperor runes formed when an ordinary Great Emperor Realm warrior broke through to the Great Emperor Realm, the Emperor runes formed by Yang Hongwu when he broke through to the Great Emperor Realm were 100 times or even 1,000 times more than an ordinary person. How terrifying was that? How shocking was that? However, just as Yang Hongwu's aura surged and he was about to break through the bottleneck, the Destruction Berserk Dragon also moved. Chapter 1440. Method of no return at this time. Although Yang Hongwu was focused on breaking through, he did not have the mind to check the situation outside. After all, in such a situation, he could not be distracted at all. Otherwise, it might cause a big problem. Even so, Yang Hongwu felt a great sense of danger at this moment. It made Yang Hongwu feel as if there was a thorn in his back. This was a very bad feeling. However, Yang Hongwu had no way to stop now. No matter what danger it was, he had to wait until after the breakthrough. Yang Hongwu's breakthrough was at the most critical moment, and he could not afford to make any mistakes. This was the biggest threat Yang Hongwu had ever encountered. The Destruction Berserk Python Dragon had already arrived in front of Yang Hongwu. It was only a few feet away from Yang Hongwu. Its huge mouth had already opened, revealing razor-like teeth, and a huge, fishy smell spread out. Roar! Finally, the Destruction Berserk Python Dragon couldn't take it anymore. With a roar, it pounced towards Yang Hongwu, wanted to swallow Yang Hongwu. Bastard! How dare you hurt people? You're courting death. A voice rang out from the distance as a sharp sword pierced through the void, wanting to stop the destruction of the Berserk Verdant Dragon from devouring Yang Hongwu. The sword carried a terrifying sword chi. Its power was astonishing. The sword chi tore through the air, and the sound of cloth being torn was heard. The sword chi bombarded the huge body of the Destruction Verdant Dragon. However, this slash didn't stop the destructive Berserk Dragon. Although the slash left a gash on the destructive Berserk Dragon's body and caused considerable damage, it couldn't kill the destructive Berserk Dragon. Therefore, the destructive Berserk Dragon swallowed Yang Hongwu in one gulp despite being injured. At this time, Yang Hongwu was focused on breaking through and had sealed off his external consciousness. He had no idea that he had been swallowed into the belly of the destructive Berserk Dragon. How could he not be enraged when he saw the destructive Berserk Dragon swallow someone right in front of him? This was a slap to his face. He was the second genius of the Common Life Shrine, a peerless genius with incomparable strength. This time, he had entered the ancient forest of no return for two reasons. One was to train himself, and the other was to find the God of no return technique. It was rumored that the God of no return technique was the peerless technique of a generation of experts, Yin Bu Gui. Once upon a time, Yun Bugue had relied on his god of no-return technique to sweep across the entire common people's divine realm and become the first divine emperor of the divine realm. He established a peerless dynasty. In the entire divine realm, no one dared to defy his words. All powerhouses had to submit to him. Yun Bufan was the descendant of Yun Bugue. However, he had lost the god of no-return technique. This time, he came to the ancient forest of no return because he wanted to find the god of no return technique left behind by Yun Bugue of the Yun family. Once he obtained the god of no return technique, he would be able to advance by leaps and bounds and break through the shackles of his cultivation. He would become a peerless expert of his generation and restore the glory of the Yun family. And now, in the ancient forest of no return, he saw a person. Although he didn't know who that person was, the ancient forest of no return was filled with dangers. Ordinary people who entered the ancient forest of no return would die, without a doubt, unless they were at the divine monarch realm. Otherwise, they would have to possess the bloodline of the Yun family. Otherwise, they would encounter terrifying dangers in the ancient forest of no return. This was a restriction set up by the ancestor of the Yun family, Yun Bugue, because the ancient forest of no return was the location of Yun Bugue's inheritance. However, after so many years, no one had found the location of Yun Bugue's inheritance. Many people thought that it was just a legend. Even many people in the Yun family thought so. If the inheritance really existed in the ancient forest of no return, how could the descendants of the Yun family not find it after so many years? However, Yun Bufan didn't think so. He believed that the reason why the ancestors of the Yun family couldn't obtain the inheritance of the divine technique of no return wasn't because there was no inheritance in the ancient forest of no return. It was because they didn't have the opportunity, talent, and luck. However, Yun Bufan was different. He had a powerful sacred body, the immortal cloud sacred body. This was an ancient combat body that was incomparably powerful. Until now, he hadn't been able to activate the immortal cloud sacred body. If he wanted to activate the immortal cloud sacred body, he would need a powerful combat technique in order to activate the sacred body. Once he was able to activate the immortal cloud sacred body, his cultivation would rise to another level and he would become even more powerful. He might even break through the shackles and become a divine monarch realm expert. However, it was too difficult to activate the immortal cloud sacred body. In the deity domain, there were very few people who could activate such an ancient sacred body. In the various deity domains, those who could activate the ancient sacred body would all become the supreme saints and supreme saintesses of their respective deity domains. The difference between a supreme saint and a supreme saintess wasn't small. Yun Bufan was very clear about this. In fact, there were very few people who knew about the supreme saints and supreme saintesses. Only the sect masters and supreme elders of the various major sects knew about this. He had also heard about it by accident. He was the second genius of the Common Life Divine Hall and one of the candidates for the Holy Sun. The Common Life Divine Hall had a Holy Sun and 3 candidates for the Holy Sun. However, not many people knew that there was a supreme saint in the Common Life Divine Hall. This supreme saint was the true trump card of the Common Life Divine Hall. He was the most outstanding genius of the Common Life Divine Hall. If nothing went wrong, this supreme Holy Sun would truly inherit the Common Life Divine Hall. However, Yun Bufan wasn't willing to accept this. He was the descendant of Yun Bugue, the unparalleled divine emperor. How could he be ordinary? How could he submit to someone else? It was precisely because he was unwilling to accept this that he had taken the risk of entering the ancient forest of no return again and again. The ancient forest of no return was extremely dangerous. It wasn't a joke. Even people with the Yun family's bloodline would find it very dangerous to enter this place. Less than 1 in 10 people would be able to leave this place alive. Furthermore, Yun Bufan had entered the ancient forest of no return again and again. The danger was unimaginable. Although some of the patriarchs of the Yun family wanted to stop Yun Bufan from entering the ancient forest of no return again and again, they couldn't do anything about it. Yun Bufan was too stubborn. After failing to persuade Yun Bufan time and time again, they no longer cared about him. This time, Yun Bugue saw Yang Hongwu in the ancient forest of no return and sensed the unique aura that Yang Hongwu had released when he had broken through. He immediately thought of something. This person definitely had the Yun family's bloodline. His cultivation technique was extremely special. Furthermore, he had just broken through to the Emperor realm. When he had broken through to the Emperor realm, he had already possessed such a terrifying aura. Furthermore, the Emperor marks on his body were even more shocking. Chapter 1441. Returning to the great Emperor realm, therefore, Yun Bufan guessed that this young man must have cultivated a powerful divine technique. What kind of powerful divine technique was there in the ancient forest of no return? Was there need to think? There was only one divine technique left behind by Yun Bugue, the divine emperor of no return. The divine technique of no return. The divine technique of no return was in his hands, but he did not expect that the young man would be swallowed by the destructive verdant dragon. How could Yun Bufan not be angry? This was an opportunity that he had been waiting for a long time. For this divine technique, he had risked his life and entered the ancient forest of no return again and again. However, just as he was about to get it, it was destroyed by the destructive verdant dragon. No matter what, this destructive verdant dragon had to die. He had to kill this damned python and cut open its stomach to find the person. Moreover, he had to be fast. He had to kill this damn python in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, he would be digested and nothing would be left. That would be the end of him. Yun Bufan knew about the destructive verdant dragon. It was a giant python that was rumored to be the descendant of the destruction true dragon. It was extremely powerful and terrifying. If it was not for the fact that the person was swallowed by the destructive verdant dragon, and it was related to the divine technique of no return, he would not be willing to go against this destructive verdant dragon. However, he had no other choice now. If there was a destructive verdant dragon here, there could be a second one. These damned pythons were a social animal, and they were extremely annoying. After this destructive verdant dragon swallowed Yang Hongwu, it did not stay and fled frantically. Its intelligence was not low, and it knew that it had gained great benefits. As long as it digested the human in its body and obtained the true dragon bloodline in his body, it would be able to evolve and become a true destruction true dragon. Therefore, it did not want to go against Yun Bufan and fled frantically. Moreover, it had already sent out a distress signal when it was fleeing. In an instant, all the destructive verdant dragons within a radius of 10,000 feet had received the message and were rushing over. Yun Bufan felt that something was wrong. Damned beast. Yun Bufan was infuriated. His cultivation was only at the late, primordial true god realm. Although his strength was not bad, he would definitely not be a match for the destruction berserk dragons. Therefore, before Mang Kun arrived, he must first kill this giant python. Once Mang Kun arrived, he would have no chance at all. On the contrary, his life would be in danger. At this time, Yang Hongwu was at the critical moment of his breakthrough when he was swallowed by the destruction berserk dragon. He didn't know about this, but after being swallowed, Yang Hongwu was corroded by a powerful force that wanted to digest Yang Hongwu. However, this was a huge test for Yang Hongwu. It was also a tempering of his body. Who was Yang Hongwu? His physical body was extremely strong as he cultivated the immortal dragon body and the devouring true body. Now that the devouring true body had been integrated with the devouring art and the demon devouring rune, it had become a devouring furnace that was extremely powerful and could devour everything. Ordinary attacks would not be able to strike his body. They would not be able to temper his body. Once they struck his body, they would be devoured and turned into pure energy. This time, Yang Hongwu was still cultivating after being swallowed into the snake's stomach while he was unconscious. The devouring furnace was still devouring the fragment of the world and refining the energy of the fragment of the world. Otherwise, the digestive acid in the snake's stomach wouldn't affect him at all. But without dermic powers and the help of the devouring furnace, Yang Hongwu could only rely on the strength of his physical body to resist the corrosion of the acid. Therefore, It had the effect of tempering his physical body. Time passed by bit. Yang Hongwu's body shook. With a muffled sound, Yang Hongwu successfully condensed the Emperor rune and broke through the bottleneck. At this moment, Yang Hongwu had completely broken through and entered the Great Emperor realm once again. Unlike the previous time, when Yang Hongwu broke through to the Great Emperor realm, he entered the invincible Great Emperor realm directly. This time, Yang Hongwu deliberately suppressed his realm. Yang Hongwu's successful breakthrough did not attract any heavenly tribulation, which surprised Yang Hongwu. Heavenly tribulation would definitely appear when breaking through to the Great Emperor realm, but he did not attract any. Yang Hongwu opened his eyes and spread out his consciousness. To Yang Hongwu's surprise, he was in the stomach of an animal. Moreover, it should be a snake. I was treated as food and swallowed into its stomach. After understanding his situation, Yang Hongwu was pleasantly surprised to find that his physical body had changed. The immortal dragon body had improved by a level. More importantly, the Nine Heavens divine dragon technique had also improved by a level. This was a great thing for Yang Hongwu. It's time to go out. How dare you eat me? Yang Hongwu sneered. You're courting death. Yang Hongwu was also very glad. If this snake did not swallow him directly and attack him first, he would be in big trouble. In the best-case scenario, it would be chi deviation. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was very glad. In fact, Yang Hongwu was even protected by the snake after being swallowed. In the snake's stomach, Yang Hongwu did not have to worry about external interference. Speaking of which, this snake could be considered his benefactor. Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu wanted to break open the snake's skin and get out of the snake's stomach. However, he hesitated and did not do so. Yang Hongwu was the kind of person who clearly distinguished between kindness and hatred. Although this snake wanted to eat him, it did not have any good intentions. It did not want to save him, but this snake had done him a favor. Forget it, I'll spare your life. Yang Hongwu's mind moved, and he activated the secret technique of void travel. In the next moment, Yang Hongwu appeared outside. After getting out of the snake's stomach, Yang Hongwu was shocked. There was actually someone chasing after this huge python. This person was very strong. He was in the Tai True God realm. To Yang Hongwu, a Tai True God realm expert was very powerful. He was not someone he could deal with now. Although he had broken through the bottleneck of the Emperor realm and successfully reached the Emperor realm, even so, it was still not enough to deal with a late Emperor realm expert. If they really met, Yang Hongwu could only run away. Roar, a loud roar was heard. Yang Hongwu's face changed. The person who was more worried than Yang Hongwu was Yin Bufan. There was movement in all directions, and it was a huge commotion. Chapter 1442. Yin Bufan, Damned Beast. Although Yin Bufan didn't want to give up, he had no other choice. Now that the Mang-kun had arrived, his life would be in danger if he continued to chase after it. However, if he gave up now, he might lose the opportunity to obtain the no-return divine technique. This made him feel very conflicted. After hesitating for a few breaths, Yin Bufan waved his hand, and an aura hit the body of the destruction Mang-kun from before. After leaving a unique mark, his figure flashed rapidly and disappeared from the spot in a few breaths. Those giant pythons didn't seem to want to let Yin Bufan go. All of them chased after Yin Bufan. Yang Hongwu hesitated for a moment. After glancing at the giant python, he also chased after Yin Bufan's direction. Yang Hongwu had locked on Yin Bufan's aura, so naturally, he could chase after him. Yang Hongwu didn't know where this place was, and this wasn't a good thing for him. Only by following Yin Bufan would Yang Hongwu be able to find any signs of human habitation. Only by following Yin Bufan would Yang Hongwu be able to figure out where he was, or perhaps where he was in the divine realm. After figuring it out, he would think of a way to enter the mortal continent. After all, he still had a lot of things to do in the mortal continent. It wasn't an easy thing to return to the mortal continent. Originally, Yang Hongwu tried to use the void travel technique to return to the mortal continent. However, he found out that it was impossible. The world barrier was too strong. He had no way to break through the world barrier. This made Yang Hongwu feel very helpless. In fact, it was very easy to enter the deity domain from the mortal continent. However, it was too difficult to return to the mortal continent from the deity domain. It was simply not on the same level. It was like a one-way passage. Even a monarch god expert would find it very difficult to open a passage to return to the mortal continent. For Yang Hongwu, it was even more impossible. Although he was now a great Emperor Realm expert, it was almost impossible for him to forcefully open a passage to the mortal continent with his strength. Of course, there was another possibility, which was to borrow the power of the teleportation formation. Yang Hongwu could only use this method to return to the Canshin continent. However, the difficulty of setting up such a trans-realm teleportation formation was not ordinary. Even Yang Hongwu did not dare to be careless. Before he had enough confidence, Yang Hongwu was not willing to take risks. In fact, the best choice for Yang Hongwu right now was to find Wang Yiming and let him think of a solution. This was the easiest way. However, before that, he had to leave this place and figure out where he was. Up ahead, Yin Bufan was infuriated. He didn't expect that these damnable beasts would still chase after him, causing him to be extremely furious. If there were only one or two of them, he would really stop and kill them directly. However, the problem now was that there were more than one or two of these giant pythons chasing after him. Instead, it was a group of more than 10 giant pythons. Do you need help? When Yang Hongwu saw that Yin Bufan was about to be caught, he appeared in front of Yin Bufan in a flash and looked at him. You? It's you? Yin Bufan's eyes widened. When he saw Yang Hongwu, his eyes were filled with shock. Wasn't this person the one who was swallowed into the snake's stomach? How is it? Do you need help? When Yang Hongwu saw Yin Bufan's expression as if he had seen a ghost, he didn't care and continued to ask. Of course, can you help me get rid of these beasts? Yin Bufan was helpless. The speed of these giant pythons was really shocking. In this ancient forest of no return, they were like fish in water. On the other hand, he was restricted. If they were in the outside world, he could easily get rid of these damnable pythons. However, he couldn't do so in this place. Roar! When Yang Hongwu heard a loud roar, it erupted with a dragon's roar. This roar contained a majestic power, as if it was a real dragon's roar. When this roar appeared, those pythons instantly stopped. Some of the weaker ones laid their heads on the ground and didn't dare to move. It was as if they were about to submit. Yang Hongwu's roar made Yin Bufan dumbfounded. Good heavens, this is a dragon's roar. Could it be that this young man is actually a dragon? Let's go. Brother, are you planning to spend the night with these guys? When Yang Hongwu saw that Yin Bufan was still in a daze, he smiled and said, Ah, Yin Bufan regained his senses and quickly said, let's go now. What kind of joke was this? He wasn't stupid. These damnable pythons were extremely terrifying. He wasn't their opponent. He didn't want to become a delicacy in the mouth of these destructive berserk pythons. After leaving the attacking range of the destructive berserk pythons, Yin Bufan asked, I'm Yin Bufan. Thank you for saving me. May I ask for your name? You don't have to be so polite. Just call me Yang Hongwu. I'm not a big shot, so there's no need to be so polite. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, Brother Yang, are you a dragon? Yin Bufan asked curiously. Generally speaking, if an ordinary cultivator entered the ancient forest of no return, they would be in danger. There were many restrictions, forbidden techniques, and curses left behind by Yun Bugue. If a cultivator who wasn't from the Yun family entered the ancient forest of no return, they would be cursed. Once they were cursed, they would become the target of the strange beasts and fierce beasts in the ancient forest of no return. Therefore, this was why the mortality rate for outsiders who entered the ancient forest of no return was so high. Basically, out of 100 people, only one could come out alive. No matter how strong the other party was, there was still the danger of death. The probability of survival was 1%. Those who were able to come out alive were all people with monstrous luck. If he was a dragon, it was also possible. It was rumored that some dragons were not afraid of curses at all. They were also not afraid of strange beasts and fierce beasts. After all, dragons could be said to be the kings of all beasts. Under the pressure of dragons, there were almost no strange beasts that dared to challenge the majesty of a dragon. But Yang Hongwu in front of him could release a dragon's roar and had the presence of dragons. Therefore, Yin Bufan believed that the possibility of Yang Hongwu being a dragon was very high. Of course, it was also possible that he had obtained the inheritance of the ancient forest of no-return technique. However, this possibility wasn't high. His surname wasn't Yun. Of course, not being surnamed Yun didn't mean that he didn't have the blood of the Yun family in his body. However, for them, the surname Yun was very noble. If he really had the blood of the Yun family, there was no reason for him to abandon this surname. Chapter 1443. The Mystery of the Inheritance. Brother Yun, you misunderstand. I'm not a member of the dragons. Yang Hongwu shook his head. Not a member of the dragons? Didn't Brother Yang let out a dragon's roar just now? Yin Bufan was no fool. If it wasn't for the dragon's roar and dragon's pressure, how could those verdant destruction dragons be so easily frightened? Haha, so that's what Brother Yun is talking about. It's just a cultivation technique. In this world, there are many special cultivation techniques. This dragon's roar is due to the divine dragon roar technique. Yang Hongwu said with a chuckle. Although Yang Hongwu explained it this way, Yin Bufan still didn't quite believe it. The dragon's roar had such a shocking dragon's pressure. If it wasn't a member of the dragons, it was absolutely impossible to have such an effect. However, since Yang Hongwu didn't admit it, Yin Bufan didn't ask anymore. Moreover, Yin Bufan wanted to inquire about the inheritance of the god of no-return technique from Yang Hongwu. If he had such information, it would be of great benefit to him. Yang Hongwu in front of him had great magical powers. He had clearly been swallowed by the verdant destruction dragons, but he appeared in front of him in perfect condition. How could he not be shocked? If there was anyone who knew the location of the inheritance of the god of no-return technique, it would probably be Yang Hongwu alone. If Yin Bufan knew that his guess was completely wrong, and that Yang Hongwu had just inexplicably entered the ancient forest of no return, who knew what Yin Bufan would think? Brother Yin, where is this place? Yang Hongwu asked. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Yin Bufan was astonished. He looked at Yang Hongwu. Did he really not know? Or was he pretending? This was the ancient forest of no return. It could be said that the ancient forest of no return was famous. All along, the Yun family had never prohibited outsiders from entering the ancient forest of no return, nor did they send people to guard it. This was confidence because the ancient forest of no return was full of dangers and there was only a slim chance of survival. As for obtaining the god of no return technique, this was simply a joke. The no return divine technique definitely existed, but it was absolutely impossible for outsiders to obtain it. The inheritance of the no return divine technique could only be opened by the bloodline of the Yun family. This was what Yin Bugui had left behind in the past. Brother Yang, are you kidding me? Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu. Of course not. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly and said, in fact, I was accidentally teleported to this place and was swallowed by the python. If it wasn't for my special cultivation method, I'm afraid I would have turned into water by now. Seeing that Yang Hongwu didn't seem to be lying, Yin Bufan paused for a moment before saying, if Brother Yang doesn't know, then I'll explain it to Brother Yang. This place is called the Ancient Forest of No Return. It is the inheritance land of our Yun family. Yang Hongwu was also taken aback when he heard that. This, Brother Yin, this. I also accidentally entered this place. Brother Yin, I'm truly sorry about this. Seeing Yang Hongwu's expression, Yin Bufan smiled bitterly. Originally, he hoped to obtain some information about the god of no return technique from Yang Hongwu, but now it seemed impossible. Perhaps Yang Hongwu was a senior or the successor of a hidden holy land. He was sent out for training this time and met with some accident. Therefore, he was sent into the ancient forest of no return. If Yang Hongwu knew that Yin Bufan had made up his own story, he would be overjoyed. Brother Yang, you don't have to be like this. In fact, the inheritance of our Yun family is the ancient forest of no return. It doesn't prohibit outsiders from entering. Yin Bufan said. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He looked at Yun Bufan and said, "It doesn't prohibit outsiders from entering? Aren't you afraid that the inheritance of your Yun family will be taken away by others?" "Ha, of course not. Brother Yang, didn't your seniors explain it to you? Any powerful inheritance secret technique can only be obtained by having a bloodline. For example, the divine technique of our Yun family can only be obtained by someone with the bloodline of the Yun family. Outsiders can't obtain it. Even if they find the divine technique, they can't obtain the inheritance of the divine technique." Yin Bufan laughed. He was really curious about Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu could definitely be called a genius. Moreover, he wasn't an ordinary genius. Although Yang Hongwu's cultivation was only in the initial stage of the Great Emperor realm, Yin Bufan could clearly feel the terrifying power contained in Yang Hongwu's body. This kind of power even made him feel a little suffocated. It was a strong pressure. What peerless genius! What peerless genius! They were nothing in front of him. Unknowingly, such a thought appeared in Yun Bufan's mind. No matter who it was, what kind of genius, it was a tragedy to be born in the same era as Yang Hongwu. He had a premonition that Yang Hongwu would become the most outstanding genius of this generation, the strongest saint. He might even be the most outstanding existence since ancient times. If he was allowed to grow, he would be invincible. Yin Bufan shook his head. He wanted to get rid of the thought in his mind. It was too terrifying. Yang Hongwu could actually plant such a thought in his mind. Terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. Could it be that Yang Hongwu was an old antique, the reincarnation of a peerless expert? Speaking of which, it was strange. If it was another person, Yin Bufan would have long had the intention to scheme against him. However, Yang Hongwu was different. Yin Bufan didn't have the slightest bit of strange thoughts. He didn't have the intention to scheme against Yang Hongwu at all. Thinking of this, Yin Bufan was shocked. Even now, he didn't have the thought of plotting against Yang Hongwu. Art of charm, spirit battle technique? Yin Bufan thought in his mind. Whether it was the spirit battle technique or the art of charm, it was too terrifying to reach such a level. He definitely couldn't make this person his enemy. Taking a deep breath, Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "It is precisely because of the uniqueness of the inherited divine techniques and the fact that the ancient forest of no return is fraught with danger. Therefore, the Yin family does not obstruct the cultivators who enter the ancient forest of no return, and they can come and go as they please. However, even so, 99% of the cultivators who enter the ancient forest of no return have already died. As for those who make it out alive, only a little more than 100 have made it out. I don't feel any great danger here, do I? It's just some strange beasts." Yang Hongwu didn't care and said indifferently. Chapter 1444. The Eye of Fortune, however, he did not expect Yang Hongwu to not take it to heart. It was simply infuriating. This guy's luck was a little too good. If he wasn't one of the dragons, then he must be the descendant of old ancestor Yunbu Gui. Or maybe he was the reincarnation of old ancestor Yunbu Gui. In other words, the situation was really possible. If he was really the reincarnation of old ancestor Yunbu Gui, then it was possible for him to obtain the no-return divine technique. Thinking of this, Yunbu Fan's eyes lit up. No matter what, he had to ask and test it out first. Brother Yang's luck is really good. I almost died here many times. This ancient forest of no return is full of danger. It's not a place where ordinary people can survive. Yunbu Fan said, "This time, I relied on Brother Yang's luck. I hope that with Brother Yang's luck, we can leave this place safely." "Brother Yun, you must be joking. How can I be so powerful? It's just a little bit of luck. However, Brother Yun, is this ancient forest of no return really that scary? Isn't this the place of inheritance of your Yun family? Could it be that this place is also dangerous for your Yun family members?" Yang Hongwu looked at Yunbu Fan and said, "If that's really the case, I really don't know what your old ancestor is thinking. Perhaps the old ancestor doesn't want us to rely on our ancestors. After all, families that rely on their ancestors won't last forever." Yunbu Fan said, "That's true." Yang Hongwu nodded. No sect or family could last forever. Those families that could last for a long time often had their own unique cultivation methods. They wouldn't let the entire family live in peace and happiness. As the saying goes, one lives in sorrow and dies in peace. If any country or force didn't have any danger, they wouldn't have any progress. Without danger, they wouldn't have any vigilance. Once a crisis broke out, it would be absolutely devastating. Brother Yang, have you heard of the no-return divine technique? Yin Bu Fan said. No-return divine technique? Yang Hongwu was slightly stunned. I haven't heard of it. Is the no-return divine technique very powerful? What does it have to do with the ancient forest of no-return in your Yun family? Yang Hongwu wasn't a fool. No-return divine technique, no-return ancient forest. TSK. It would be strange if they weren't related. It seemed like this no-return divine technique wasn't simple. How could a secret technique that could be named after a divine technique be simple? Once they were crowned with the words divine technique, every secret technique would be extremely powerful, much more powerful than emperor techniques. Brother Yang's guess is right. The no-return divine technique is the most powerful divine technique of our Yun family. It was created by our Yun family's ancestor, Yunbu Gui. Back then, our Yun family's ancestor, Yunbu Gui, relied on this powerful divine technique to sweep across the entire divine realm and become the only divine emperor in the divine realm, achieving a supreme status. However, later on, our ancestor entered the depths of the void. Our ancestor, Yunbu Gui, also left behind a powerful divine technique, the no-return divine technique. The inheritance of the no-return divine technique is in the ancient forest of no return. However, after so many years, no one has obtained the inheritance of the no-return divine technique, not even a part of it. Yunbu Fan said, "This is already the 9th time I have entered the ancient forest of no return. Every time, it was a narrow escape. There were a few times where I was seriously injured and almost lost my life. However, I did not give up. I believe that the no-return divine technique is in the ancient forest of no return." You're looking for the no-return divine technique. You want to obtain the inheritance of your ancestor, Yunbu Gui. Yang Hongwu looked at Yunbu Fan and said, "Despite the narrow escape, you still insist on searching. I admire Brother Yun's perseverance. Sai, my Yun family was so powerful in the past. Now, in the divine realm, it has fallen to a second-rate force." Yunbu Fan smiled bitterly and said, "All along, I have wanted to obtain the no-return divine technique to revive my Yun family and let our Yun family become a great family once again, standing at the peak of the divine realm." Good ambition. Yang Hongwu chuckled and said, "Brother Yun, I believe that you can do it. You will definitely be able to obtain the inheritance of the no-return divine technique. Brother Yang, I hope to receive your help." Yunbu Fan looked at Yang Hongwu and said in a serious tone, "Why?" Yang Hongwu heard and asked in confusion, "I'm just an outsider, not a member of your Yun family. I don't have a Yun family's bloodline. Your ancestor can't possibly give his inheritance to an outsider, right?" Yang Hongwu was very clear about this point. If it were him, he would not easily give his inheritance to an outsider. People were always selfish. Of course, if it was a special situation where the descendant of the family was too weak to support the family, they could not let their inheritance be severed. It was also possible to find a suitable outsider to be the successor. However, if they were to choose an outsider as the successor, the requirements would be much higher. Brother Yang, you're wrong. Perhaps Brother Yang is a descendant of my Yin family? That's hard to say. Yunbu Fan chuckled. Yang Hongwu was speechless when he heard that. Well, Brother Yun, you're thinking too much. How can I be a member of your Yun family? Yang Hongwu rolled his eyes. He had never interacted with the Yun family before. How could he be a descendant of a Yun family? Yang Hongwu had never even heard of that Yunbu Gui. In fact, it doesn't matter whether you are or not. The only thing that is true is that Brother Yang's luck is very strong. In this divine realm, I'm afraid there is no one whose luck is more amazing than Brother Yang's. Brother Yang is the person with the strongest luck I've ever seen in the common people's divine realm. Yunbu Fan said, I won't hide it from Brother Yang. Since I was born, I have a kind of talent, which is to see the luck of others. I can see anyone's luck, even the divine monarchs of the 13 divine realms. Brother Yang's luck is like a torrential sea, stronger than anyone else's. Even the divine monarchs of the 13 divine realms combined are not as strong as Brother Yang's luck. Therefore, with Brother Yang's help, I can definitely obtain the inheritance of the no-return divine technique. Yang Hongwu couldn't help but laugh when he heard that. He scoffed at Yin Bufan's words. Yang Hongwu believed in luck, but Yang Hongwu didn't believe that Yin Bufan could see through his own luck. Who was he? No matter how strong his talent was, it was impossible for him to do that. If he was really so powerful, how could he not find the no-return divine technique? Chapter 1445. Dharma Eye of Annihilation, Eye of Fortune. Yang Hongwu was a little surprised when he heard that. If it really was the Eye of Fortune, then this guy really wasn't that simple. It was rumored that people who possessed the Eye of Fortune were all people abandoned by the heavens. These people were called forsaken by the heavens. As a person who had been abandoned by the heavens, it was simply impossible for him to live until now and reach the primordial unity, true God realm, unless he was valued by a supreme almighty and was called an existence nurtured by a supreme almighty. Therefore, Yang Hongwu didn't believe Yin Bufan's words at all. If he really possessed the Eye of Fortune and could see through other people's fortune, would the heavenly Tao of the divine realm allow him to exist? After all, the existence of such a person was equivalent to a bug that would cause great damage to the operation of the heavenly Tao of the entire divine realm. Of course, there was also a possibility that he had never used the Eye of Fortune, or rather, he hadn't truly opened the Eye of Fortune. Therefore, his Eye of Fortune hadn't been discovered by the heavenly Tao and had never been allowed to live until now. Brother Yin, are you sure you have the Eye of Fortune? Do you know what happens to people who possess the Eye of Fortune? Yang Hongwu looked at him and asked. Yin Bufan was shocked when he heard that. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said in surprise, I didn't expect that Brother Yang would actually know these secrets. Yin Bufan hadn't expected that Yang Hongwu would actually have some understanding of the Eye of Fortune. The Eye of Fortune was actually a legendary existence. There weren't many people who knew about the Eye of Fortune. The reason he knew about the Eye of Fortune was because he himself had the Eye of Fortune. Therefore, he searched for information about the Eye of Fortune. People who possess the Eye of Fortune are called forsaken by the heavens, which means that they have been abandoned by the heavens. People who are forsaken by the heavens generally don't have a good ending because the existence of a forsaken by the heavens will create a huge hole in the operation of the heavenly Tao. Therefore, once a forsaken by the heavens appears, they will be the target of the heavenly Tao. Since you know, you even said that you have the Eye of Providence? Yang Hongwu asked. Yin Bufan smiled bitterly. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, I have no way out now. In fact, I have sealed my Eye of Fortune all this time. However, I didn't expect that it would automatically activate when I came into contact with Brother Yang. Now, my aura has probably been locked onto by the heavenly Tao. Therefore, I must obtain the no-return divine technique, because the ancestor of my Yun family, the no-return divine emperor, is an existence that has surpassed the heavenly Tao. He broke through the space of the divine domain and entered the void to search for the supreme heavenly gate of fortune. Therefore, if I want to live, I must find the no-return divine technique. Yang Hongwu still expressed his doubts about Yin Bufan's words. As for being rejected by the heavenly Tao, Yang Hongwu didn't care what kind of person he was. Being abandoned by the heavens wasn't a big deal. Instead, he would gain great benefits. TSK. Losing something meant gaining something else in the end. When things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. This was the truth of the great Tao. The Eye of Fortune actually had another name, which was the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. The Dharma Eye of Annihilation was a truly terrifying existence. However, it was too difficult to develop the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Not to mention primordial true gods. Even divine monarchs couldn't do it. Perhaps the legendary divine emperors could do it. It doesn't matter if you have the Eye of Providence or not. If you want me to help you find the no-return technique, it's not a reliable thing. I entered this place by accident, so I know nothing about the no-return technique. How can I find it? Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bufan and said, Moreover, even if I can find the no-return divine technique, why should I help you obtain it? Yin Bufan said, I can help you find the person you're looking for. Yang Hongwu released a terrifying, murderous aura when he heard this. He stared at Yin Bufan and said coldly, Who are you? What do you know? Was this guy's previous performance a cover-up? Otherwise, how could he know who he was looking for? Yang Hongwu didn't hide his murderous intent. If Yin Bufan made any strange moves, Yang Hongwu wouldn't hesitate to kill Yin Bufan, even if he had to pay a huge price. Although Yin Bufan was a primordial true god, and Yang Hongwu wouldn't be able to deal with him under normal circumstances, if Yang Hongwu were to pay a huge price, forget about Yin Bufan. Yang Hongwu will be able to kill experts of the half-steps or god realm. Moreover, if Yin Bufan wasn't his enemy and didn't know about his situation before, then this guy was also very terrifying. This guy could casually find out other people's secrets. This was too terrifying. No one wanted to expose their secrets in front of others. This feeling was like being stripped naked and even exposing one's soul to the other party. This wasn't a good feeling. Brother Yang, don't be nervous. I'm not Brother Yang's enemy, and I didn't do it on purpose. I was just too excited, so I checked Brother Yang's situation. Seeing Yang Hongwu's murderous appearance, as if he was facing a great enemy, Yin Bufan shivered. This murderous aura was truly too terrifying. It made him feel like he was looking at a purgatory. Yang Hongwu's strength was very terrifying. His luck was shocking, but his murderous aura was also shocking. His murderous aura was even more terrifying. Yin Bufan had never seen someone like him. The murderous aura around him wasn't targeted at himself, but at others. He was like a killing machine, a supreme killing machine that existed for the sake of killing. What made Yin Bufan even more shocked was that this murderous aura hadn't been exposed yet. What did this mean? Yin Bufan's heart went numb. This was something he only saw when Yang Hongwu released his murderous aura towards him. Even the most terrifying devil in the divine realm didn't have such a terrifying murderous aura. Perhaps the murderous aura of the entire divine realm added together wasn't as terrifying as this. What kind of existence was this? Not only was his luck monstrous, he even had such a terrifying murderous aura. Yin Bufan was very clear that his cultivation was much stronger than Yang Hongwu's. However, if Yang Hongwu was determined to kill him, then he wouldn't have any chance of surviving. He wouldn't have any chance of survival at all. If you don't give me an explanation, I don't mind letting you know what it means to live a life worse than death. I'll make you regret being born in this world. Yang Hongwu said coldly. Chapter 1446. The Void of Destiny. Even if it's as you say, so what? Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bufan and said, I have my own ways to find the person I want. Moreover, as you said, I'm a person with monstrous karmic luck. Is there no way for me to find the person I want and obtain the thing I want? Yin Bufan was stunned when he heard that. Indeed, Yang Hongwu was right. His karmic luck was extraordinary. He could be said to be the absolute son of karmic luck. To a son of karmic luck, there was nothing that was impossible for him to obtain. His thoughts would definitely come true, and his wishes would definitely come true. As long as his thoughts weren't too outrageous, he could achieve them. Yin Bufan smiled bitterly in his heart. What did he have that could move him? In reality, if it wasn't for the fact that he wasn't strong enough to kill Yang Hongwu and that he was a person abandoned by the heavens, he really wanted to directly kill Yang Hongwu and seize his karmic luck. However, it would be fine if it was someone else who was strong and possessed great karmic luck. Only Yin Bufan couldn't do that. As a forsaken by the heavens, he was a person abandoned by the heavens. How could he possibly kill someone like Yang Hongwu? Even if his strength increased by another level and reached the monarch god realm, he still wouldn't be able to kill Yang Hongwu, because karmic luck was just too terrifying. A person who was favored by the heavenly Tao, or even the great Tao, was definitely not someone that an ordinary person could kill. Even if they encountered a huge life and death crisis, they would still be able to turn it into safety. If a monarch god expert wanted to kill Yang Hongwu right now, then other experts would definitely appear and stop him. This was the terrifying aspect of a son of karmic luck. He knew this very well because he had encountered many similar situations. At that time, he didn't know much about the eyes of karmic luck and the heavens forsaken. Of course, he was still very weak at that time, so he wouldn't attract the attention of the heavenly Tao when he used the eye of karmic luck. If he continued to use the eye of providence without any scruples, he would have been turned into ashes by the heavenly thunder. But now, he had a chance to change his fate, and that was to get Yang Hongwu's help. Only with his help and protection would he have hope. In fact, he knew very well that Yang Hongwu's karmic luck was not the karmic luck of the heavenly Tao, but the karmic luck of the great Tao. Only the providence of the great Tao could protect those who had been forsaken by the heavens. Those who had been forsaken by the heavens did not need to worry about the heavenly Tao. If it was the Son of Providence, in fact, they would have a natural sense of repulsion when they saw him. If Yang Hongwu hadn't saved him before, he wouldn't have known that Yang Hongwu didn't hate or reject him. If he did, he wouldn't have brought him out of the crowd. Now, the most important thing for him was to convince Yang Hongwu. Brother Yang, I know that Brother Yang is very resourceful. Even without my help, you can still find the person you're looking for. I don't doubt this at all. However, with my help, will Brother Yang be able to find the person you're looking for faster? Isn't that right? Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, in fact, this isn't a loss for Brother Yang. To Brother Yang, this matter is as easy as lifting a finger. Even if I can't find the inheritance of the God of no return technique, I will still help Brother Yang. Therefore, this matter is beneficial to Brother Yang. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said seriously, if that's all, it's not enough to move me. You should know that your body is special. It's not that easy to help those who have been forsaken by the heavens. Yang Hongwu said, I've never heard of a person who has been forsaken by the heavens successfully breaking the shackles. Yin Bufan was speechless. Of course, he knew this. In history, there had been forsaken by the heavens, but none of them had truly broken the shackles of the heavenly way. Of course, this was only what Yin Bufan knew. In fact, Yang Hongwu knew best that those who had been forsaken by the heavens were rejected by the heavenly way. However, they had endless potential and could grow into powerhouses of the great Tao. Yang Hongwu only knew this because a memory suddenly flashed in his mind. As for the specific situation, Yang Hongwu didn't know. I can help you solve your status as a forsaken by the heavens. However, once your status as a forsaken by the heavens is resolved, your eye of fortune will also disappear, Yang Hongwu said while looking at Yin Bufan. Really? Yin Bufan was overjoyed when he heard this. He looked at Yang Hongwu and asked, Brother Yang, is what you're saying true? Can you really help me solve my status as a forsaken by the heavens? If he could solve his status as a forsaken by the heavens and make him lose his eye of fortune, what was wrong with that? The eye of fortune was the symbol of a forsaken by the heavens. He didn't think that Yang Hongwu could solve his status as a forsaken by the heavens while helping him retain his eye of fortune. This was simply unrealistic. In fact, he knew that even if he obtained the inheritance of the no-return technique and became a divine lord, he still wouldn't be able to escape the punishment of the heavenly way unless he could break through to the divine emperor realm and break the limits of the heavenly way. However, he knew that the possibility of this was too small. Even the most outstanding genius in the deity domain, known as a rare super genius, Gu Shanxiao, had less than a 10% chance of breaking through the divine lord realm and entering the divine emperor realm, let alone a forsaken by the heavens like him. The gap between him and Gu Shanxiao wasn't small. Gu Shanxiao's luck was amazing. Although it wasn't as good as Yang Hongwu's, there was absolutely no one in the deity domain who could compare with him. Of course, Yang Hongwu was an exception. Yang Hongwu's situation was too special. Possessing a terrifying amount of luck and also possessing a terrifying amount of killing intent, this was simply a combination of contradictions. People who had such a terrifying massacre tribulation were usually great devils who destroyed the world. However, people with such terrifying luck were usually supreme rulers and supreme leaders of the righteous path. One was righteous, the other was evil. These two completely opposite situations appeared in the same person. It was simply inconceivable. However, it was precisely this kind of person that had unlimited possibilities. His eye of fortune wasn't that simple. He could vaguely sense the future development of ordinary people, but he couldn't see it at all in Yang Hongwu's case. Yang Hongwu's future was completely void, and even his past was also completely void. Chapter 1447. Seeking the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. If I can get rid of my identity as a forsaken heavens, I won't mind dropping my cultivation to the great emperor realm, let alone a mere eye of fortune. Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, for ordinary people, it was absolutely unbearable to drop one's cultivation by an entire realm. However, in order to get rid of his identity as a forsaken heavens, Yin Bufan was actually willing to drop one's cultivation by an entire realm. This determination was absolutely impossible for ordinary people. For many cultivators, cultivation was everything. It was absolutely intolerable to drop one's cultivation by an entire realm from the Grand Unity True God realm to the Great Emperor realm. It's not that serious. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, because the Eye of Fortune is your foundation and also the proof of your identity as a forsaken heavens. So, as long as your Eye of Fortune is removed, you can get rid of your identity as a forsaken heavens. I've read in ancient books that the Eye of Fortune can't be removed. I wonder if Brother Yang has a way? Yin Bufan was still a little worried. If he didn't get rid of the Eye of Fortune and his identity as a forsaken heavens, he would attract heavenly punishment instead. That would be troublesome. With his current cultivation, there was no way he could resist heavenly punishment. If he was really discovered by the heavenly Tao and heavenly punishment descended, he would definitely die without any possibility of survival. Of course I'm confident. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have told you. Yang Hongwu said, I still have this much confidence. Yin Bufan was still skeptical. After all, this matter was related to his life, and he couldn't be careless in the slightest. Besides, I won't risk my life, will I? If I really don't get rid of it and heavenly punishment descends, won't I also be bombarded by heavenly punishment with you? Yang Hongwu couldn't help but say when he saw Yin Bufan's worried and doubtful expression. However, if I get rid of your identity as a forsaken heavens, you have to serve me for 3,000 years. Yang Hongwu said, after 3,000 years, you can regain your freedom. You have to think about this carefully. To tell you the truth, you may encounter various situations during these 3,000 years, and your life may even be in danger. There's no need to say anymore. I agree. Yin Bufan nodded. To Yin Bufan, 3,000 years was nothing. An expert of the primordial true God realm had a lifespan of tens of thousands of years. A mere 3,000 years was nothing. If he couldn't resolve his identity as a forsaken one, he didn't know how many more centuries he could live. For so many years, he had been in fear and trepidation. He had been suppressing his cultivation, not daring to break through. This was because he knew that if his cultivation broke through too quickly, it would definitely attract the attention of the heavenly Tao. If the heavenly Tao discovered his identity as a forsaken person, only death would await him. Suppressing his cultivation like this made him feel very aggrieved. This was like a man facing a beautiful woman. He could have her easily, but he couldn't do it. He had to hold himself back from beginning to end. That kind of feeling was really unbearable. You don't want to think about it? Yang Hongwu asked. There's no need for that. In any case, if I can't get rid of my identity as a forsaken person, I don't know when I'll be discovered by the heavenly Tao and be punished by the heavenly punishment. I've always been trembling in fear, afraid that death will befall me at any moment. Instead of being so sullen, I might as well take a gamble. Whether I live or die, it all depends on this time. Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Brother Yang Hongwu, this time, whether I live or die depends on you. Don't worry. If I dare to say so, I can do it. I, Yang Hongwu, never do anything that I'm not sure of. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, for Yang Hongwu, the identity of a forsaken person was nothing. What he valued was the Eye of Fortune, or rather the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. That was what he really valued. If this Dharma Eye of Annihilation was in Yun Bufan's place, it would be impossible to activate it. Once it was activated, it would be destroyed by the way of heaven. However, if it was in Yang Hongwu's place, he could really hide it and integrate it into his inner world. Before it grew up, Yang Hongwu could keep the Dharma Eye of Annihilation hidden. Once his strength reached a certain level, he could use the Dharma Eye of Annihilation to destroy some unnecessary worlds and devour the origin power of these worlds, which was the power of the world, to enhance his inner world. Therefore, the Dharma Eye of Annihilation was the best eye technique for Yang Hongwu. If he could obtain the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, it would be of great benefit to his future development. The speed of his cultivation and the improvement of his inner world would be dozens of times faster than if he didn't have the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Therefore, Yang Hongwu was determined to get the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Even if he had to pay some price, Yang Hongwu would not hesitate to do so. Brother Yang Hongwu, do you need to make any preparations? Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. In fact, Yin Bufan was now making a desperate effort. Because of this incident, he saw some problems with Yang Hongwu. Because of Yang Hongwu, the seal on his body was opened and his Eye of Luck was stimulated. Therefore, if his Eye of Luck was not solved, the heavenly Tao would discover his identity sooner or later. Yin Bufan even guessed that his identity had not been exposed yet because of the ancient forest of no return. The ancient forest of no return was left behind by Yun Bugue, the ancestor of the Yun family. Yun Bugue was a supreme divine emperor whose strength surpassed the heavenly Tao of this world. Therefore, the inheritance he left behind, the ancient forest of no return, could resist the will of the heavenly Tao and prevent his identity from being detected by the heavenly Tao for the time being. Once he left the ancient forest of no return, his identity as a forsaken person would definitely be detected by the heavenly Tao. A terrifying heavenly punishment would descend and completely destroy him. Because of this, he made such a bold choice without being absolutely sure and unable to completely trust Yang Hongwu, because he had no way out. Yes, I need to set up a formation, Yang Hongwu said. However, I don't have many divine origin stones and medicinal herbs on hand. Yin Bufan frowned and said, I don't have many divine origin stones either. I only have one supreme grade divine origin stone, 1,000 high grade divine origin stones, and the rest are all medium grade divine origin stones. I only have a little more than 10,000. As for medicinal herbs, I only have one divine herb. Yang Hongwu's eyes widened when he heard this. Tycoon. He was really a F*King tycoon. Chapter 1448. Sky-stealing sun-swapping array. If it's not enough, I can think of other ways, Yin Bufan said. No need, it's enough. These are enough, Yang Hongwu said. It's just setting up a formation and refining a few pills. Setting up a formation and refining pills? Yin Bufan said. Doesn't that mean we have to find an alchemist and an array master? Of course not, Yang Hongwu said with a smile. If it was so troublesome, I wouldn't have agreed to it. It's just refining some pills and setting up a small array. This is just a small matter. I can do it. Besides, no matter how powerful an array master or alchemist is, there's no way they can make such pills and arrays. Yin Bufan was shocked. He looked at Yang Hongwu. He didn't expect that he was also an alchemist and an array master. Yin Bufan naturally didn't believe that the pills and formations that could help him solve his identity as a forsaken person would be ordinary. If it was so easy, then he wouldn't be a forsaken person. I didn't expect that Brother Yang is also an array master and an alchemist. Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and didn't hide his surprise at all. He was an array master and an alchemist. Moreover, he had such terrifying talent. Such a person was too heaven-defying. However, it wasn't strange to find these things on Yang Hongwu. After all, Yang Hongwu was a person with monstrous luck. Yin Bufan even suspected that Yang Hongwu was the master of this world, and the entire God realm belonged to him. He was the child of this world. No, he should be the master of this world, the master of this world. Thinking about it, this was the most likely situation. Only the master of this world would have such a situation. If it was someone else, the will of the heavenly Tao wouldn't allow such a person to exist. After all, the existence of such a person was likely to break the balance of the heavenly Tao. Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bufan and said, "It's nothing. All right, I'll set up the array formation first. I'll have to trouble Brother Yun to protect me." Yang Hongwu still didn't completely trust Yin Bufan. Therefore, although he asked Yin Bufan to protect him, he was still on guard against him. If Yin Bufan dared to make a move, Yang Hongwu would pay any price to kill him. Of course, Yang Hongwu also knew that this possibility was relatively small. With Yin Bufan's special physique, he would definitely die without Yang Hongwu's help. Therefore, Yang Hongwu did not believe that Yin Bufan would disregard his own life and attack him. After all, there was no deep hatred between him and Yin Bufan that would make Yin Bufan use his own life to deal with him. The array formation that Yang Hongwu set up this time was called the Sky-Stealing Sun-Swapping Grand Array. Its main purpose was to transform the power of Yin Bufan's Eye of Fortune. It would extract the Eye of Fortune from his body and replace it with something else. Originally, Yang Hongwu planned to use a part of the Chaos Divine Lord's Jade Pendant. However, he did not expect Yin Bufan to take out a divine herb. This divine herb could be used to refine a fate pill. He would use this fate pill to exchange for the Eye of Fortune, which was the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. The fate pill was not easy to refine. However, for the current Yang Hongwu, it was still possible. If he had not broken through to the Great Emperor realm, it would have been impossible to refine the fate pill. However, now that his cultivation had broken through the shackles and reached the Great Emperor realm, his Dharma power was incomparably vigorous and endless. Coupled with the assistance of the Red Lotus Hellfire, refining elixirs was like a fish in water. A mere fate pill was still possible. There was still some difficulty in setting up the Sky-Stealing Sun-Swapping formation. The main reason was that the formation eye, which was the core of the formation, was not easy to choose. Of course, it would not be difficult to set up a Sky-Stealing Sun-Swapping formation if he used the Scroll of Good Fortune, the Dragon Gate, and so on. However, Yang Hongwu was reluctant to use these treasures. These were his treasures, and each of them was incomparably precious. Yang Hongwu was not stupid. If an accident were to happen, Yang Hongwu would not be able to accept such a loss. Even if it was just this one matter, if he succeeded, he would obtain great benefits. If it were an ordinary person, they would have made the choice without hesitation. However, Yang Hongwu was different. Yang Hongwu was very conflicted. If the light tablet was still there, he might not have to be so conflicted. After hesitating for a while, Yang Hongwu finally made the choice to use the Chaos Divine Lord's Jade Pendant. This Jade Pendant contained boundless power. Now, only this Jade Pendant was enough to be the formation eye of the Sky-Stealing Sun-Swapping formation. After a few breaths, Yang Hongwu set up the formation. With a wave of his hand, a seal was formed, and the entire space exploded with a dazzling light. The Chaos Divine Lord's nomological laws exploded. This chaotic nomological laws completely disrupted the power of the nomological laws in the surroundings. The entire ancient forest of no return was like a huge bomb that exploded with terrifying energy. This sudden change gave Yin Bufan a fright. "Brother Yang, what is going on?" Yin Bufan hurriedly asked. He was very worried. This was the ancient forest of no return. Yang Hongwu set up a formation, and it actually caused such a huge change in the ancient forest of no return. Even the entire ancient forest of no return was shaken. From this, it could be seen how terrifying and shocking the formation that Yang Hongwu set up was. How could a formation that could cause such a huge change in the ancient forest of no return be so simple? At the very least, Yin Bufan did not know that such an array master existed in the divine realm. In that case, Yang Hongwu's attainments and formations were probably unmatched in the entire divine realm. Even the sect master of the divine array, sect in the divine realm, could not be compared to him. Yin Bufan was already used to Yang Hongwu. After all, he had such terrifying luck. In fact, such a person was a heaven-defying existence. He could learn whatever he wanted to learn. What peerless geniuses, what monstrous geniuses, they were not even worth mentioning in front of him. At the very least, those so-called peerless geniuses and monstrous geniuses in the divine realm were like trash in front of him. Yin Bufan sighed. Fortunately, he had hugged Yang Hongwu's thigh. If he could get rid of his identity as a forsaken person and become Yang Hongwu's subordinate and serve him for 3,000 years, it would definitely be his honor. As long as he followed Yang Hongwu closely, he would also reap great benefits. Chapter 1449. Good Fortune Heavenly Pill Formation Activate. With Yang Hongwu's shout, the entire formation was completely activated. A huge power instantly enveloped the space. What? What kind of formation is this? It's so overbearing. When Yun Bufan felt the power of this formation, his face was filled with shock. In the face of this formation, he realized that he was just like a baby, without any strength to resist at all. If Yang Hongwu wanted to deal with him, this formation could easily destroy him. In fact, even 10 or 100 of him wouldn't be a match for him. Great Sky-Stealing Sun-Swapping Formation. This formation is used to extract your Eye of Fortune. I want to use the divine herb you gave me to refine an elixir and use this elixir to exchange for your Eye of Fortune. Yang Hongwu said, refining the elixir may lead to a heavenly tribulation. So, before that, I still need to seal your aura. Brother Yang, just do it. I believe in your strength, Yun Bufan said. That's good. Yang Hongwu nodded. A talisman flew out and turned into a white light that enveloped Yun Bufan. Then, he took out an elixir and handed it to Yun Bufan. Just now, I used the talisman to conceal your aura. However, to be on the safe side, you should also take this elixir. This elixir is also used to conceal your aura. Once you take this elixir, even a peak Divine Lord Realm expert would find it difficult to detect your aura. Yin Bufan was skeptical, but he still took the pill over. However, he could clearly feel that his aura had already been concealed. Even he had discovered that his aura had become very weak. If one did not pay attention, they would not be able to detect it at all. That talisman was really powerful. Such a talisman was definitely an excellent treasure for concealing one's aura. It seemed that Yang Hongwu's identity was definitely not that simple. Could it be that he was a descendant of an expert from a world that surpassed the divine realm? There were countless planes below the divine realm. Then, what about planes above the divine realm? There was definitely such a plane. He did not think that the divine realm was already the top plane world. Perhaps above the realm of the gods, there was an even more powerful and vast world. It was unknown how many universes existed in the endless void. Did the legendary Fortune Gate really exist? It was undeniable that many powerful treasures were ejected from the Fortune Heavenly Gate. Of course, they had never seen them before. Only some ancient existences had seen them. They had obtained many mysterious treasures from the Fortune Heavenly Gate. These treasures had raised their strength to an unimaginable level. Some experts had even entered the mysterious creation Heavenly Gate. However, it was rumored that none of the experts who had entered the Fortune Gate had come out. After the Fortune Gate appeared once, it disappeared and never appeared again. He had discovered these ancient secrets in an ancient secret land. As for whether they were true or not, no one knew. However, there was one thing that was absolutely true. The patriarch of the Yun family, Yun Bugue, was an unparalleled expert. He had indeed broken through the shackles and entered the void to search for the supreme Fortune Gate. Perhaps the Creation Sky Gate was a treasure created by an unrivaled powerhouse in a supreme great cosmos. Or perhaps it was really just a gate that led to a mysterious great cosmos. Once one entered the ancient Sky Gate, they would be able to enter the supreme great cosmos and great cosmos. Perhaps one could find the mystery of creation and the secret of eternal life there. These were too far away for Yun Bufan. He only wanted to survive. If Yang Hongwu was really someone from that legendary world, perhaps he would also have the opportunity to enter that legendary place and explore the mystery of creation and the secret of eternal life. If Yang Hongwu knew what Yin Bufan was thinking and guessing, who knew what kind of expression he would have? This guy's imagination was really too rich. However, if Yang Hongwu really knew what Yin Bufan was thinking, he would probably be shocked. He had to admit that although this idea seemed absurd, it wasn't impossible for his guess about the fortune heavenly gate. In the eyes of the martialists living in the common people's continent, the deity realm was a supreme place. It was a mystical world that people yearned for and was an existence that only existed in legends. Wasn't the deity realm the same to the common people's continent and the deity realm the same to the fortune heavenly gate? In the eyes of the common people's continent, the deity realm was mysterious. Similarly, wasn't the fortune heavenly gate the same to the deity realm's martialists? However, in fact, there weren't many people in the deity realm who knew about the existence of the fortune heavenly gate. Only when one reached a certain realm and had a certain level of strength would they come into contact with these secrets. Yin Bufan was undoubtedly one of them. After receiving the elixir, Yin Bufan swallowed it without any hesitation. In his mind, if Yang Hongwu wanted to kill him, he could have done so long ago. There was no need to use these little tricks. Moreover, if he hesitated, it would leave a bad impression on Yang Hongwu. This wasn't what Yin Bufan wanted. After all, he wanted to follow Yang Hongwu and become his trusted subordinate. Very good. Now, your aura has been completely concealed. Even if you leave the ancient forest of no return now, the will of heaven won't discover your existence for the time being. Therefore, I can refine the elixir without worry. Yang Hongwu nodded in satisfaction after he couldn't sense Yin Bufan's aura. After his cultivation had broken through, his talisman technique and alchemy technique had improved tremendously. The talismans and elixirs that could conceal one's aura had an effect that exceeded his expectations. After making all the preparations, Yang Hongwu set up a formation and restriction for himself and began to refine the elixir. The fortune heavenly elixir wasn't a simple elixir. Using a divine herb as the main ingredient and supplementing other herbs to refine it, one could imagine how difficult it was to refine it. The fortune heavenly elixir had already surpassed the level of an emperor-grade elixir. It was a top-notch true divine-grade elixir. Although Yang Hongwu's cultivation had broken through to the great emperor realm, it was his first time refining such an elixir. Therefore, he had to be careful. If there were any mistakes, the elixir might be ruined. The key was that there was only one divine herb. If he failed this time, there wouldn't be a second chance. Therefore, this time, he could only succeed and not fail. Yang Hongwu waved his hand, and a ball of flame appeared in the void. The flame slowly changed and wrapped around an invisible pill furnace. Chapter 1450. Seven-colored pill, tribulation, too powerful. Yin Bufan was completely dumbfounded. Yang Hongwu was so powerful when it came to setting up formations. He was a supreme expert in the Tao of formations. Who would have thought that Yang Hongwu would be equally powerful in the field of alchemy as well? He stood at the peak of the Tao of alchemy. At the very least, among all the alchemists he knew, there was absolutely no one who could match up to Yang Hongwu. Following him and becoming his subordinate, what benefits could he not get? Pills, TSK, they were nothing. He could casually refine them, and there would be a lot of them. In the eyes of others, pills were extremely precious. Countless experts could not get their hands on these supreme pills. In front of Yang Hongwu, they were probably trash. Yin Bufan thought in his heart. Time passed quickly, and the pill was about to take shape. At this moment, a terrifying force condensed in the sky. It was a tribulation cloud. Pill tribulation. Just like what Yang Hongwu said before, the pill tribulation had finally arrived. He finally understood why Yang Hongwu wanted to conceal his aura. So this was the reason. The pill that Yang Hongwu refined had attracted a pill tribulation. Pill tribulation was not impossible in the divine realm. However, there were very few alchemists who could attract a pill tribulation. In the entire divine realm, there were less than 5 of them. As for those fellows, they were all lofty old fellows and antiques. Every single one of them was a treasure of their sect. It was impossible for them to easily refine pills for others. Even with his status as the young lord of the Yun family, he could not ask an alchemist who could attract a pill tribulation to refine a pill for him. Now, there was an alchemist who could attract a pill tribulation who had specially refined an elixir for him. Moreover, it was a creation heavenly elixir. This made him feel incomparably honored. Brother Yang, the pill tribulation is here. I wonder if Brother Yang is confident? Yin Bufan's face was solemn. This pill tribulation did not seem to be simple. The powerful pressure was much more terrifying than an ordinary pill tribulation. The tribulation cloud in the sky changed the moment he spoke. The originally dark tribulation cloud turned colorful. 7-colored tribulation cloud. This caused Yin Bufan to be even more shocked. 7-colored tribulation clouds. That was no ordinary pill tribulation. It was rumored that such a situation would only occur when refining a 100% effectiveness pill. What did a 100% effectiveness pill mean? He knew very well that such a pill could already be said to have a spirit. It was no longer a pill, but a living being. The pill had gained sentience. If not for the seal, the pill would have instantly escaped and transformed. He had thought that such a pill only existed in legends. He had not expected to see such a scene in front of him. It was not a legend, but a real one. At first, he was pleasantly surprised, but he was soon filled with worry. The quality of a 100% effectiveness pill had already exceeded the scope of the heavenly Tao. Although the pill tribulation would not change anymore. After the pill tribulation, there would be a heavenly tribulation that targeted the alchemist. This was the truly terrifying part. Therefore, once a heaven-defying pill was refined, not only would it be a great test for the divine pill itself, it would also be a great test for the alchemist. Therefore, he was shocked and worried about Yang Hongwu. However, when he recalled that Yang Hongwu was a person with supreme luck, he understood. If a mere heavenly tribulation could not be withstood, then the supreme luck must be fake. A mere pill tribulation is just a small matter. Yang Hongwu smiled. He did not take the pill tribulation seriously. For others, pill tribulation and heavenly tribulation were the most worrisome things. However, it was different for Yang Hongwu. In fact, for Yang Hongwu, pill tribulation and heavenly tribulation contained the power of lightning. They were all supplements for him. Now that his cultivation had broken through the bottleneck, he was already a great emperor expert. If he wanted to increase his cultivation level, he would need to consume a large amount of spiritual energy to increase his cultivation level. Originally, Yang Hongwu could have used the Chaos Emperor's jade pendant to raise his cultivation by 1 or 2 small realms. He might not have reached the middle stage of the Great Emperor realm, or even the later stage of the Great Emperor realm, but it would not be a problem for him to raise his cultivation by 1 or 2 small realms. However, the jade pendant of the Chaos Divine Emperor was now used by Yang Hongwu as the Formation Eye. This was not an ordinary formation. It was the sky-stealing, sun-swapping formation. This formation required a large amount of energy. When the time came, the formation would consume a large amount of energy. After using it, no one knew how much energy would be left in the jade pendant. Whether or not he could improve his cultivation was definitely a problem. Therefore, Yang Hongwu hoped that the pill tribulation this time would be stronger. In fact, the stronger it was, the better it would be. Only then could he make up for his loss. As soon as Yang Hongwu's voice fell, a huge lightning bolt descended. It struck towards the elixir in the flames in front of Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu smiled gently. He soared into the sky and blocked the lightning tribulation, allowing the lightning tribulation to strike his body. Seeing this scene, Yin Bufan was dumbfounded. This was too King shocking. Who would take the initiative to face the lightning tribulation? When Yin Bufan saw the terrifying energy of the pill tribulation being swallowed by Yang Hongwu, he was truly shocked. He could not close his mouth. Refining the energy of the pill tribulation, this was simply shocking. He did not dare to believe it. This was the lightning tribulation, the energy of the heavenly tribulation. Yang Hongwu actually refined and swallowed it directly. This was too crazy. Was he hallucinating? Rumble, rumble. Loud sounds could be heard as the lightning tribulation continued to descend. Yang Hongwu crazily swallowed the lightning tribulation. Of course, when he was swallowing, He also divided a portion of the lightning tribulation into the good fortune heavenly pill. After all, this was a pill tribulation. If the good fortune heavenly pill was not baptized by the lightning tribulation, this cauldron of elixir would not be complete. It would become a fake elixir. Without the original energy of the good fortune heavenly pill, the loss would outweigh the gain. Not enough, too little. Seeing that the pill tribulation was about to end, Yang Hongwu shouted, "Is this all there is to the seven-colored pill tribulation? That's too disappointing." What made Yun Bufan speechless was that Yang Hongwu actually pointed at the seven-colored tribulation cloud in the sky and scolded. He was actually provoking the pill tribulation. Crazy, this was simply crazy. If he did not see it with his own eyes, Yun Bufan would not dare to believe it. There was actually someone who was so crazy. Chapter 1451. Snatchang Hongwu was speechless. The tribulation clouds in the sky seemed to have ignored Yang Hongwu's provocation and began to dissipate. Yun Bufan was dumbfounded. The tribulation was actually afraid. Yang Hongwu looked at the speed at which the seven-colored tribulation clouds dissipated in the sky. He wondered if he had gone through a fake pill tribulation. This pill tribulation was too cowardly. It actually dissipated on its own. Moreover, it was so fast, as if it was afraid that he would attack. The pill tribulation dissipated, and the pills were completely formed. He had actually refined two pills. These two pills wanted to break through the restraints and escape. However, how could Yang Hongwu let them do as they wished? The pill tribulation had not been able to help Yang Hongwu's cultivation breakthrough. He had not even reached the second level of the Great Emperor realm. If he let the creation heavenly pill escape, wouldn't he suffer a great loss? However, what was worth rejoicing over was the fact that there were actually two pills refined this time. Generally speaking, it was already very good to be able to refine pills of this level in one try. Yang Hongwu did not expect that he would be able to refine two pills. His luck was not bad. One creation heavenly pill would be used by Yun Bufan. As for the other creation heavenly pill, he would keep it for himself or give it to his woman. Perhaps, if he encountered an expert, he could use this pill to make a breakthrough in his cultivation at a critical moment. Although it would not be a huge breakthrough, it should not be a problem for him to break through one or two small realms. All right, the pill has been refined successfully. Now, it's time to change your physique. Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Bufan and said, "Are you ready?" Yun Bufan came back to his senses and looked at Yang Hongwu. He nodded and said, "Brother Yang, I'm ready. Feel free to do it." Yun Bufan's words made Yang Hongwu frown slightly. Yun Bufan's words sounded as if he was going to give him something. "Since you're ready, I'll start. This process is still dangerous, but the possibility of failure is very small. However, you have to be careful. You have to think carefully." Yang Hongwu reminded him again, "If I fail, then so be it. I've had enough of these days of fear." Yun Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Brother Yang, you have no idea how many times I have woken up from nightmares. Don't you think it's funny that I, an expert of the Tai True God realm, would have nightmares? What a joke." Hearing this, Yang Hongwu understood. It was a rare thing for a martial artist to dream. Moreover, it was a nightmare, which was even rarer. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for a cultivator to dream, much less have nightmares, unless they were hallucinating or going berserk. Of course, there was another possibility, and that was that they were being schemed against. Neither situation was normal. As for Yun Bufan's situation, it was extremely special and ironic. To a martial artist, such a situation was simply humiliating and unbearable. "In that case, I'll start." Yang Hongwu said no more. In fact, at this time, even if Yun Bufan refused, Yang Hongwu would not give up. How could Yang Hongwu give up the Eye of Fortune? No, the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Therefore, what he said just now was just a casual remark. Of course, if Yun Bufan had doubts and scruples, the probability of success would be reduced. In that case, adjustments would need to be made. This matter could not be sloppy. It was related to the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Yang Hongwu did not want to make any mistakes. Sky-stealing, sun-swapping array, open. sky-stealing, sun-swapping array, reverse the universe. Along with Yang Hongwu's roar, the entire array formation started to operate crazily. Majestic energy erupted and a huge beam of light instantly shrouded Yun Bufan in it. The energy that erupted from this huge light beam was turbulent and surging. If it erupted completely, this space would be annihilated. The meridians all over Yang Hongwu's body bulged, and his eyes widened like copper bells. His entire body's aura revolved, and the devouring furnace also erupted. Divine dragon avatars also appeared and dragon roars were heard. This space was filled with an ancient, mysterious, and majestic aura. Change. Creation heavenly elixir out. Yang Hongwu instantly injected a creation heavenly elixir into Yun Bufan's body. The energy contained within the creation heavenly elixir also erupted and formed an ancient giant beast. The shadow of this ancient giant beast integrated into Yun Bufan's body and turned into his battle physique avatar. Yun Bufan's aptitude was very amazing. If it had not been for the Eye of Fortune, Yun Bufan's cultivation would have broken through the shackles and become a half-step divine lord powerhouse. Because of the Eye of Fortune and his identity as a forsaken being, Yun Bufan's heart was not clear and his thoughts were not clear. In addition, he had deliberately suppressed it. Therefore, his cultivation had not reached the peak of the primordial true God realm. Originally, depriving Yun Bufan of his Eye of Fortune would cause a certain amount of damage to his foundation, and his cultivation would be greatly damaged. It might even cause his cultivation to fall below the primordial true God realm, or even to the initial stage Great Emperor realm. Yang Hongwu would use the creation heavenly elixir to repair his foundation and restore part of his cultivation. However, it should not be too much. After all, the creation heavenly elixir was mainly used to restore his foundation. However, Yun Bufan's physique was much stronger than expected. After the creation heavenly elixir integrated into Yun Bufan's body, it awakened the ancient giant beast avatar in his body. It had completely stimulated his potential. His foundation had also been restored, and his strength had not fallen too much. He had only fallen to the initial stage, primordial true God realm. Although his cultivation had fallen, his realm was still there, and his thoughts were clear. In the future, his cultivation would be faster, and his combat power would be more powerful. "Eye of Fortune, come to me," Yang Hongwu shouted. In an illusory, I was grabbed by Yang Hongwu. This was the Eye of Fortune, or rather, the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. This, I seemed to have a spirit, and was filled with destructive power. The entire array was shaking. The heavenly way of this world seemed to have sensed something, and the entire deity plane became oppressive. The experts in the deity plane felt an inexplicable pressure. It was as if something was stuck in their hearts, and it was very uncomfortable. What's going on? The heavens are changing. To these experts, this inexplicable pressure was extremely uncomfortable. It was most likely a bad omen. The entire deity plane was shrouded in a dark cloud. Chapter 1452. Great Void Hand. After Yang Hongwu took out the Eye of Fortune, the corners of Yang Hongwu's mouth curled into a smile. The Eye of Fortune wanted to escape, but Yang Hongwu wasn't surprised. It was normal. Although the Eye of Fortune hadn't given birth to true intelligence, it still had instinctive resistance and fear. After all, Yang Hongwu was able to take it out of its original host. How powerful was that? Being able to do that was enough to prove that Yang Hongwu had the ability to destroy it. No matter what it was, it wouldn't be willing to be destroyed, even if it was a small ant, let alone a supreme existence like the Eye of Fortune. Trying to escape? Dream on. You're my hands, and you still want to struggle? Yang Hongwu snorted coldly and threw the Eye of Fortune into the devouring furnace. The devouring furnace erupted, and a terrifying power instantly suppressed the Eye of Fortune, as if it was going to completely obliterate it. However, Yang Hongwu wouldn't really destroy the Eye of Fortune completely. Otherwise, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. This was the future Dharma Eye of Annihilation. He would be a fool to destroy it just like that. Refined, devouring furnace, refine it for me. Yang Hongwu shouted. The Eye of Fortune was constantly being refined in the devouring furnace. It constantly shrank and became a bead the size of an eyeball. Yang Hongwu was also surprised. The Eye of Fortune had been refined to such an extent, but it still had the power to resist. It was indeed worthy of being called the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. On the other side, Yun Buffon's aura was becoming more and more stable, and his body was erupting with amazing potential. Yang Hongwu was surprised. The luck on this guy's body had become very rich. He was the son of fortune. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. This guy had actually become the son of fortune. The luck on his body was so rich. After losing the Eye of Fortune, he became the son of fortune. TSK, this guy was really strange. Perhaps he was the son of fortune to begin with, but was targeted by the Eye of Fortune. Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu's heart flashed. This Eye of Fortune didn't seem to be that simple. Perhaps someone had done it on purpose. If that was truly the case, then that person's strength was most likely not simple. He was definitely an existence that surpassed this world and the domain of the gods. But why did that person do that? Could it be that they wanted to seize this divine domain? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. If this divine realm was a part of the inner world of the life seal, then Yang Hongwu would absolutely not allow anyone else to encroach on it. To Yang Hongwu, the inner world of the life grand seal was his. No one could touch it. Anyone who did would die. Yang Hongwu didn't care who that person was or how powerful that person was. Yang Hongwu could completely refine this Eye of Fortune. In front of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus and the devouring furnace, nothing could stop him. He could even deal with the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, let alone a mere Eye of Fortune that had yet to evolve. Refine. Yang Hongwu fully unleashed his magic power. Mysterious power of law appeared in the devouring furnace, coupled with the power of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Yang Hongwu instantly shattered the bead formed by the Eye of Fortune. At this moment, Yang Hongwu felt a terrifying power erupting. In the void, a huge hand appeared and grabbed at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu's hair stood on end. Looking at the huge hand that appeared in the void, his face was incomparably solemn. Yang Hongwu had encountered such a situation once before. At that time, he was still very weak. It was in the ancient wilderness continent, and he was almost killed by a great emperor expert. Now, such a situation had occurred again. This time, he didn't know how powerful this person was, where he came from, or which world he came from. However, one thing was certain. The opponent's strength was extremely terrifying. He was an existence that surpassed the divine emperor realm. He had surpassed this world and the divine domain. It won't be that easy to kill me. Yang Hongwu snorted. If the opponent's real body came, Yang Hongwu would definitely be no match for him. However, this guy only sent a hand out of the void. Moreover, it was a huge hand formed by magic power that had been weakened by the world. Therefore, even if the opponent's strength was very terrifying, the attack from this huge hand of magic power was probably not even 1% of the real body strength. Perhaps it was only 1/10,000th of the real body strength. Scroll of Fortune, open. Yang Hongwu roared as an ancient scroll opened up. It was the scroll of good fortune. A beam of light shot out from the scroll of good fortune, forming an ancient and mysterious runic symbol. The ancient and mysterious runic symbol exploded with a shocking amount of power, instantly sealing the entire space. Devouring oven, go. Following that, Yang Hongwu waved his hands. The devouring oven rose up and exploded with a huge devouring power. The devouring oven seemed to have turned into a huge black hole. The moment the huge hand of magic power was suppressed by the scroll of fortune, Yang Hongwu pulled the huge hand of magic power into the devouring oven. When the huge hand of magic power was pulled into the devouring oven, it exploded with a terrifying energy. The devouring oven expanded crazily, as if it was going to explode. Scroll of Fortune, suppress. At this moment, Yang Hongwu felt that his magic power had been greatly depleted. It was as if his magic power was about to be sucked dry. However, Yang Hongwu had a solution. Elixir. In for a penny, in for a pound. Yang Hongwu swallowed the other creation heavenly elixir into his stomach. When the creation heavenly elixir entered his stomach, it instantly turned into surging magic power that continuously restored his cultivation base. Second level, Great Emperor Realm. As the creation heavenly elixir was refined, Yang Hongwu's cultivation base increased. He broke through the shackles and entered the second level Great Emperor Realm. As soon as his cultivation base broke through, Yang Hongwu instantly suppressed the huge hand of magic power and began to devour and refine it. The devouring oven became extremely terrifying. However, what surprised Yang Hongwu was that the huge hand of magic power actually contained a consciousness. This consciousness should have been left behind by that person. Damn little worm, how dare you? Do you know what you were doing? You ant. A voice was transmitted from the consciousness. Yang Hongwu's face darkened. He said coldly, Ant? I want to see who is the ant. Destroy. Although this is only a consciousness of the original body, it is not something that an ant like you can destroy. The voice said again, Is that so? Yang Hongwu realized that the devouring oven could devour everything. In a short period of time, there was no way to destroy this consciousness. However, Yang Hongwu had a solution. Chapter 1453. A wisp of Taoist rhyme. This is the hellfire of the red lotus. How can an ant possess the hellfire of the red lotus? The wolf shouted. He couldn't believe that such a small insect could possess the hellfire of the red lotus. How could anyone in such a low-level world be able to subdue the hellfire of the red lotus? Although his will was strong and no one could destroy it in such a low-level world, it was different with the karmic fire of the red lotus. It was the karmic fire of the red lotus. Not to mention his will, even his incarnation could not withstand it. It was the karmic fire of the red lotus that could burn everything. It was especially lethal to those who had karmic force. As a warrior, which warrior didn't step on mountains of corpses and seas of bones to grow up? How could he not have any karma? His karma was boundless. He belonged to the category of people who attained the Tao through killing. At his level, there was no possibility of progress because his karma was too great. Once he wanted to break through and activate the power of the Great Path, there was bound to be a terrible thunder punishment of the Great Path. He was not confident that he could withstand such a thunder punishment. If it was an ordinary thunder punishment, it would be fine, but his karma was too great. The thunder punishment that came down would definitely be the most terrible and destructive thunder punishment. He wanted to get rid of the karma, because only by doing so could he improve further. Of course, he also thought of looking for the karma fire of the red lotus. However, the karma in his body was so terrifying that once he touched the karma fire of the red lotus, he would die. Therefore, he had to think of another way. After paying a huge price, he finally found a way. That was the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. As long as he could get the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, he could ignore the thunder punishment of the Great Path. However, how could it be easy to get the Dharma Eye of Annihilation? First, he needed to find the Dharma Eye of Annihilation that had not grown up, which was the Eye of Fortune. This alone was very difficult. No world could let the Eye of Fortune grow. He knew this very well. The Great Path of Heaven of any world would not allow it. Put in his own world? That wouldn't work. If the Dharma Eye of Annihilation grew in his own world, the first thing it would do was to destroy his own inner world. How could he be so stupid? So, if he couldn't do it in his own world, what about putting it in someone else's world? The inner worlds of those who weren't strong enough wouldn't work either, and the Dharma Eyes of Annihilation they produced wouldn't be powerful enough. Therefore, they couldn't be taken. The inner worlds of some terrifyingly powerful experts were not people he could provoke. It was the same for those who were on par with him. In that case, he could only look for worlds without a master. However, it was not easy to find a world without an owner. He had only found this world 1,000 years ago. He had paid a huge price to tear open space and place the seed of the Eye of Providence that he had painstakingly found in this world. However, he never expected that there would be a mistake in his arrangements. Someone had actually erased the mark he had left in the Eye of Providence. Therefore, he had no choice but to pay a huge price to break through space and send a portion of his magic power over, as well as a portion of his will. This was a huge loss to him. He was too far away from this world. For a long time, he had wanted to tear open space and enter this world, or get close to this universe. However, there was an invisible and powerful force that stopped him. Most of his willpower had been consumed. Only a part of it was left. However, this part of his willpower carried the Dharma power of his attack. Even though most of it had been consumed by the space barrier, it was still not something that the warriors in this world could resist unless they were at the divine Emperor realm. However, with a trace of his will, as long as his opponent wasn't an expert who had surpassed the divine Emperor realm, he could deal with them. However, to his surprise, the person he encountered was Yang Hongwu, a freak. Although his cultivation wasn't strong, he was as weak as an ant. If Yang Hongwu's original body had come here, he could have killed Yang Hongwu with a yawn. However, Yang Hongwu's original body couldn't come here. Damn it, you ant. Quickly take away the red lotus hellfire. Do you know what you're doing? If you destroy this trace of my will, you'll regret it. My original body will completely destroy your world and turn it into dust. Do you know that? I'm so scared. Yang Hongwu said coldly. You're an expert. TSK, TSK. A trace of a super expert's will. Moreover, it seems that you've surpassed the divine Emperor realm. If I can refine and devour this trace of your will, it will be greatly beneficial to me. Do you think I'll give it up? Yang Hongwu looked at the strand of willpower that was struggling in the karmic fire of the Red Lotus and was very surprised. This strand of willpower actually contained supreme Tao rhythm. Moreover, it was not an ordinary Tao rhythm. It was the Tao of slaughter. Yang Hongwu had also cultivated the Tao of slaughter before. It was the 10-direction killing fist. The 10-direction killing fist principle was also very terrifying. However, he did not specialize in the killing fist. If he could refine the Taoist rhyme of the killing Tao in the wisp of will, it would be a great help to him and Bai Iran. Bai Iran majored in slaughter doctrine. If she were to refine the slaughter doctrine aura in the wisp of willpower and give it to Bai Iran, her power would improve. She might even be able to reach the heavens in one step and become a Tai real god. Moreover, the possibility of that happening was very high. How dare you? You're courting death. You're just an ant. How dare you covet this trace of my will? He didn't expect this ant to be so bold. Not only did he want to seize his Dharma eye of annihilation, but he also wanted to covet this trace of his will. This was a heinous crime that couldn't be forgiven. However, he could only stare fiercely at Yang Hongwu. He was still resisting the burning of the Red Lotus hellfire and the refining of the devouring furnace. So he didn't have any spare energy to deal with Yang Hongwu. Who's an ant? Yang Hongwu sneered. It's just a trace of will. I'll take it. I'll wait for your original body. Chapter 1454. Complete refinement. Refine it for me. Yang Hongwu closed the devouring furnace, and the karmic fire of the Red Lotus burned even more fiercely. Little bastard, you're courting death. Do you know that you deserve to die 1,000 times over? Shut up. Yang Hongwu ignored him and operated the devouring furnace and the karmic fire of the Red Lotus to the extreme. Time flew by. After a long time, Yang Hongwu finally refined the wisp of willpower completely and turned it into pure Taoist connotation. The Eye of Fortune was also completely refined and integrated into his glabella, forming an Eye of Destruction. This was an eye technique that appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. It could refine any secret eye technique and form a divine eye. Yang Hongwu did not know the level of this eye technique and did not know how it appeared in his mind. But Yang Hongwu knew that this eye technique was supreme and terrifying. Not to mention the Eye of Fortune, it could even refine the real Dharma, Eye of Destruction. Although the power of the Eye of Destruction was far inferior to the Dharma, Eye of Destruction, Yang Hongwu could use it without being detected by the will of the Heavenly Way. It would not be rejected by the Heavenly Way. It could be hidden and no one would be able to find it. I can give this Taoist connotation seed to Iran and let her cultivation reach a higher level. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. This time, although he had consumed a good fortune heavenly pill and his cultivation had only reached a higher level, it was worth it to obtain this Taoist connotation seed. This was a Taoist connotation seed. Of course, Yang Hongwu was also under a lot of pressure. After refining the wisp of willpower into a Taoist connotation seed, Yang Hongwu also obtained a part of his memory. That Will's real body was called Qinli Hai. He was extremely strong, a cultivator at the top of the godly emperor layer. He was terrifyingly strong. The seed of the Eye of Fortune in this world was left by him. He wanted to break through to the godly emperor layer. This was because he had attained the Tao through killing. At that level, if he wanted to go further, he needed to eliminate the negative karma in his body. It was not easy to eliminate negative karma, because his negative karma was too heavy. Therefore, he came up with a way to find the seed of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, which was the seed of the Eye of Fortune. He wanted to cultivate this seed into the real Dharma Eye of Annihilation, and then refine it. After all, he was a peak divine emperor. He couldn't be underestimated. However, this guy couldn't enter this world. Yang Hongwu was not very worried. If he wanted to enter this world, he would need at least 100 years. 100 years was enough. As long as he could break through the shackles and become a divine emperor layer expert within 100 years, there would be no problem in dealing with that guy. Boom! There was a loud noise. Yang Hongwu frowned. Someone was attacking his formation from the outside. He looked at Yin Bufan. This guy was going to wake up soon. Boom! Another loud explosion rang out as the entire array formation shook. Yang Hongwu's face turned solemn. The other party's strength was very strong. To be able to shake the array formation he had laid down, it was definitely not simple. The other party was most likely a divine lord powerhouse. Now, things were getting troublesome. After a few breaths, Yin Bufan opened his eyes. Brother Yang, no, young master. After opening his eyes, Yin Bufan knelt in front of Yang Hongwu. Thank you, young master, for your kindness. You don't have to do this. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, Get up. I have helped you erase the Eye of Fortune. However, I have also gained a lot of benefits. You don't have to do this. Just be like before. How can this be? Young master has helped me remove the hidden danger. You have given me a new lease of life. Moreover, I have promised young master that I will become young master's subordinate. Naturally, I can't be impolite. Yin Bufan shook his head. In his heart, Yang Hongwu was like a peerless ruler. He was extremely powerful. It was his honor to be able to follow Yang Hongwu. He didn't want to leave just like that. It was also an honor to be Yang Hongwu's servant. Up to you. Seeing Yin Bufan's reaction, Yang Hongwu didn't continue to dwell on this issue. He said, Someone is attacking the formation outside. I'm afraid we are in trouble. The opponent's strength is not weak. Even if he is not a divine emperor, he has already reached the half-step divine emperor layer. Could it be that a terrifying, strange beast has appeared? Yin Bufan's face darkened as he said, There are some terrifying, strange beasts in the ancient forest of no return. They were sealed here by our old ancestor in order to protect the ancient forest of no return. Some of these strange beasts are very ancient, and their strength is very terrifying. Even experts at the peak of the divine emperor layer might not be able to deal with them. These ancient strange beasts are the kings of the ancient forest of no return. They might have even broken free from the restraints of our old ancestor. Because they have been sealed here for countless years, they have developed a huge resentment. Therefore, the ancient forest of no return has become so terrifying because of the existence of these strange beasts. Strange beasts at the peak of the divine emperor layer? Yang Hongwu was a little surprised. Yes, some of them might have even surpassed the peak of the divine emperor layer. Yin Bufan said, However, this is just a guess. No one knows if there really are strange beasts that have surpassed the divine emperor layer. Young master, wait here. I will go out and investigate. If it is really those strange beasts, I will think of a way to lure them away. Young master can take the opportunity to leave. No need. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, The other party is not a strange beast. I am certain of it. Young master, strange beasts at that level can transform into humans, Yin Bufan said. The other party is a member of your Yin family, Yang Hongwu said. How did young master know? He called out your name. Yang Hongwu said again. Could it be that my grandfather is here? Yin Bufan said, Young master, I will go out and take a look first. Let's go out together. I will withdraw the array. After Yang Hongwu said that, he waved his hand and the jade pendant fell into his hand. The Chaos Divine Emperor's jade pendant had already consumed more than half of its power. There was only a small portion left. Yang Hongwu felt a little heartache when he saw it. Originally, if he had absorbed the Chaos Divine Emperor's jade pendant, it should have been able to raise his cultivation by a few small realms. At least 3 small realms shouldn't have been a problem. But now, there was only a small portion left. It was less than 1/10 of its original power. It couldn't even raise his cultivation by 1 small realm. After keeping the jade pendant, Yang Hongwu waved his hand. There was a flash of light, and the great array stealing sun swapping was withdrawn. The array disk turned into a ray of light and fell into his hand. The moment the array was withdrawn, the experts outside looked serious and took a few steps back. Chapter 1455. Probing. My good grandson, you're all right? That's great. Yun Yifeng was elated to see that Yun Bufan was safe and sound. Yun Bufan was the hope of the Yun family. He was the most outstanding genius among the younger generation and also the most promising one to break through to the Divine Monarch realm. Once Yun Bufan broke through to the Divine Monarch realm, the Yun family would no longer need to listen to others. The Yun clan had always been looked down upon. Even though they were the descendants of godly King Bu Gue, they didn't even have many divine monarchs, let alone a godly king. In the current Yun family, Yun Yifeng was the strongest. He seemed to be a divine lord powerhouse, but he knew that in reality, his divine lord powerhouse wasn't real. He had forcefully broken through. Although he was stronger than a half-step divine lord powerhouse, if he encountered a true divine lord powerhouse, he wouldn't be a match for them. Therefore, a divine lord powerhouse like him, or more accurately, a pseudo-divine lord powerhouse. The rest of the Yun family did not have any hope of breaking through to the divine monarch realm. Therefore, they placed all their hopes on Yun Bufan. However, Yun Bufan did not listen to them. The ancient forest of no return was full of dangers, and he had a slim chance of surviving. However, he had entered it again and again. This made Yun Yifeng very worried. This was the longest time Yun Bufan had spent in the ancient forest of no return. Yun Yifeng was very worried. Therefore, he had no choice but to take the risk and enter the ancient forest of no return to look for Yun Bufan. He heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Yun Bufan was not in danger. However, his expression suddenly changed because Yun Bufan's cultivation level had dropped. He was now an initial Tai, true God realm expert. It seemed like he had just broken through to the Tai, true God realm. Grandson, what happened to you? Your cultivation level dropped? Yun Yifeng looked to the side and noticed Yang Hongwu's existence. The young man in front of him was only at the 2nd level of the Great Emperor realm. However, he seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog, and he could not see through him. Furthermore, the formation just now was extremely powerful and extremely strange. Could it be that the fall of his grandson's cultivation had something to do with this young man? Grandpa, don't worry. Although my cultivation has dropped to rank 1 primordial true God realm, I have gained great benefits. My foundation is stronger than before. Plus, I have activated my battle constitution. As Yun Bufan spoke, with an intention of his will, the phantom of a terrifying gigantic beast appeared behind him. It was so ferocious that it seemed capable of destroying everything. Yun Yifeng was startled. The battle physique phenomenon was so powerful and terrifying that even he was stunned by its terrifying aura. This is our Yun family's demonic beast phantom. That's great. Our ancestors have blessed us. Our ancestors have blessed us. It's finally time for our Yun family to rise up. Yun Yifeng burst into tears when he saw that. That was the manifestation of the multi-demonic battle beast. The multi-demonic battle beast was an ancient beast of the Yun family. It was incomparably strong. Back then, the Yun family's divine emperor Yunbu Gue had activated the manifestation of the multi-demonic battle beast. That was how he had managed to dominate the entire divine domain and become the strongest person in the divine domain. After so many years, no one in the Yun family had been able to activate the demonic beast phantom again. However, Yun Bufan had done it. "Grandson, you have obtained the ancestors' inheritance." Yun Yifeng stared at Yun Bufan, his entire body trembling with joy. If this was true, it meant that the other members of the Yun clan would also be able to obtain the secret arts passed down by the old ancestor, especially the no-return divine art. If it was passed down, the Yun clan would have countless supreme experts. The no-return divine technique was a supreme secret technique left behind by the ancestor. Yun Bufan shook his head and said, "Grandfather, I didn't obtain the ancestor's inheritance. However, with young master's help, I managed to get rid of the hidden danger in my body and activated the demonic beast phantom. It's only a matter of time before I enter the divine monarch realm." "The young master you're talking about is him?" Yun Yifeng frowned. He was slightly dissatisfied when he heard Yun Bufan calling Yang Hongwu young master. Yun Bufan was a peerless genius of the Yun family and the future patriarch of the Yun family. He had a high status. How could he call a great monarch realm kid as young master? Wasn't that a disgrace to the Yun family? However, Yun Yifeng wasn't an impulsive person. Instead, he was a cunning old fox. If he was that impulsive, the Yun family would have perished in his hands long ago. The reason why Yun Yifeng was able to become the patriarch of the Yun family was not only because he was the strongest, but also because he was very cautious. Everything he did, he would think deeply before he did anything. He would look at 3 steps before he did anything. He would consider everything thoroughly, and that was how the Yun family was able to rise. Compared to before he took control of the Yun family, the current Yun family status had risen by more than 10 times, and their strength had increased by several times. Although he was dissatisfied with Yun Bufan calling Yang Hongwu young master, he knew that his grandson wasn't a fool. He wouldn't call someone young master for no reason. Moreover, the formation just now was definitely not something that his grandson could set up. Moreover, his grandson said that it was all thanks to that young man that he was able to activate the supreme battle physique and activate the demonic beast phantom. That was even more incredible. If Yun Yifeng were to act rashly, it would bring him a lot of trouble. Of course, if they figure out the situation and found out that this young man wasn't that amazing, then it would be a different story. "Senior, are you looking down on me?" Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Yifeng and said coldly. This old man wasn't easy to deal with. Yang Hongwu was very clear about this. What he said just now was just a test. This old fox. "Young master, that's not what I meant. My grandfather didn't mean that. Please don't be angry." Yun Yifeng didn't say anything, but Yun Bufan was shocked and quickly explained. Yun Yifeng was shocked by his grandson's reaction. He didn't expect that his grandson would be so frightened after hearing Yang Hongwu's words. It was as if something terrible was about to happen. Yun Yifeng couldn't help but ponder. However, he wasn't a fool. He quickly laughed and said to Yang Hongwu, "Young master, please forgive me. This old man is muddle-headed. I hope young master doesn't mind and doesn't care about this old man." Yang Hongwu rolled his eyes. This old man was really cunning. "Humph." Yang Hongwu snorted and said, "Although I respect you as a senior, I don't want such a thing to happen again." Although Yun Yifeng was angry, he didn't show it. He just smiled apologetically. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.